What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of AOS Trash Pandas. I'm one of your hosts, Rob, and with me, as usual, is my co-host, Carson. How's it going, Carson?
Going pretty good. Going pretty good.
Nice.
I've just finished COVID, actually. Yes, it's gone. Yeah. It's no need to worry anyone.
You know what? Did you do what everyone did after they got COVID and went, well, I'm never going to get COVID again. So that's nice.
It's happened like 3 times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But it's like, it's been so mild just because, I don't know why. Like, it's just been incredibly mild. But yeah, I'm good overall.
Nice.
I'm very excited for all these points and rules that are coming in, and I'm especially excited to go to this thing right here, except instead of 2023, it's 2024.
You should put some masking tape on it and then write over it. That would be so sick.
Hey guys, just
Hey
put
guys.
all the dates on the back of the shirt
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Masking tape. It fixes everything.
Yeah, you can't see it. Chair's blocking. Doesn't
By
matter.
the way, is it as hot in the meat dimension as it is out here right now?
The meat dimension is quite warm. It's warmer than it's been in a while.
Is that why the meat dimension didn't give you anything this week? It's just like, it's too hot, man.
Yeah,
Get
it's
your
like,
own.
man, I just want to rest. I got an American dollar
From the meat dimension?
from the meat
He
dimension.
gave you a
and
tip. He's like, get it yourself.
yeah,
Here's
exactly.
$1, kid.
You can't get anything for $1.
That's true. Not
Nick
even at the
Williams also
dollar
hyped
store.
for Tacoma. Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see our American friends again. Go down
Not the
south.
Canadians or anyone else.
No,
Just the Americans.
I mean
True.
we're most of the Canadians that are going to be there probably.
Yeah.
Like our club is
But the Tacoma Open is huge.
it is huge, but like there's not a lot of people that travel that far for tournaments that we don't know, essentially.
Yeah,
And
that's
kind
fair.
of how we've been scooping people up into our club is we travel with people to tournaments. We're like, you're a cool guy, and then just invite them to the club. So
Yeah, we've got Americans in our club now, so or an
American. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. A1. Well, looking forward to a lecture from. Oh yes. Anyway. So did you get a chance to see the rumor engine this week?
I did. It's very interesting.
It
Also,
is.
Bahamut asked, were you able to get to talk to play on? Haven't directly talked to them, no, unfortunately. But this week's rumor engine is like the default that you want to go to is Seraphon, right? Just because you see scales, you see like jewels or something on the back.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to say it's like Fire Slayers or something, where they've got some like rock
Ooh.
cavalry, like Magmadroth-esque thing, but smaller. And it's got like encrusted jewels on it or something because it's like trapped in the mountain or whatever.
Interesting. Oh
But
man.
that's like a completely like wild guess. I'm sure it's something Seraphon.
Oh, I think you're right. So way back when, right? There was a false leak, some lying piece of absolute trash got my hopes up in like 2018 or 2019 that we were going to get like a revamp on Seraphon at the time. And one of the things they said we were getting was like this Brachiosaurus like giant like monster, you know. And I'm not like the long necks are like my least favorite among the dinosaurs, but I was still like, oh, now I really want it. So that was like my reaction was like it. But then I was noticing that it's like quite a bit smaller. So I don't think that's what it is. Because I was like, it looks kind of like a neck almost, or like turning around, you know, in the air and looking over its shoulder. But I think it's quite a bit smaller than that. Just looking at the paint job, because like that's got to be really small. So I think you're right. I think it's like mini like Fire Slayer like lizard familiar guys or something.
Yeah, because what would it be if it was Seraphon, right? Because we've already got Agrodon Lancers, we've already got the Raptidon Chargers. Like, it would be kind
Yeah.
of weird for them to make a smallish dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
And this clearly isn't like Saurus of any kind.
I mean,
because it doesn't-
they've done it though with small little dinosaurs in the past. Like you even have Terrawings, but that's not what you know. Like this is nothing like that. It still could be Seraphon. Like it could just be like it could be like the little familiar of like some new skink priest. You know what I mean? Or you could be like riding a tiny little dino or something. But oh man,
That's true.
I just thought of something I didn't know I wanted, which is like a pack of like compies. You know? Oh man, that'd be so cool. Oh well.
Alex brings up an interesting point that it's striped,
Yep.
which I did
noticed
not
that
realize
too.
at first. That's kind of
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, like, well, that's true. I don't think they've done stripes on the Magmadroths yet, but I could be wrong. Sacrosanct Chamber?
No, he said Sacro Dragosanct.
Oh! Yeah. Like, by the way, we're nuking this too, by the way. It's going to be gone. It's just, we're giving it to you for like 11 months, you know? This 9-year-old leak is a fake. It was a fake. Well, you know, it was a fake because like they said, you know, like long before we got the Seraphon. It doesn't matter, but like it doesn't mean that GW can't look at stuff and be like, oh, that's a good idea. We should do that, because the people who make these things are humans, presumably, right? That's why I'm hoping they'll listen to me. I want like new gutter runners, but they're not called gutter runners. They're called something cooler, and they're like they've got like the Kusarigama, you know, like the sickle with the chain and the ball on the end, and then like they use it to like mess with your movement. Yeah, I know.
You weeaboo.
You should be quiet. I'm tired of you. And like it'd be perfect for packs of 3. They'd have a different silhouette and they look really cool, right? And by the way, I came up with a name for them. They're called ratsicles. You know, because
That's definitely what comes to mind when I hear the word ratsicle.
Yeah, and not a frozen,
yeah,
and not a lollipop rat. I mean, you know, why not both, right? Maybe it's a very small dino being ridden by a croxicore.
I don't think it can be that small if it's being ridden by a croxicle.
Yeah, I think
pretty big.
Yeah. That would be awesome though. But we do have cavalry now for skinks, Saurus. So yeah. Alley shivers, and they're all in Burberry flat caps.
That's way too British of a sentence for
no
me to read out.
kidding.
I think
If I could export you right now, Alex, I would do it not like that.
yeah, in fact I'm telling the CBSA that you said that. We're gonna send you straight back to the UK for that.
Yeah. Oh dear. Not again, Alex. So we got quite a few different sort of, we got like a lot of information in a very small amount of time. Yesterday we got the official rules. We got the points for everything, right? And then today we got all of Order, which is the biggest faction. So
yeah, it's definitely front loaded for sure. Because like you said, they're the biggest faction, and we got literally all the rules yesterday. And not only did we get all the rules yesterday, but we got the FAQs too.
Yeah, that was weird. That was kind of a weird combo, huh?
It was kind of necessary.
Yeah.
To immediately say like, here's the core rules, but also here's these changes.
Here's these things that
you're not going to be seeing in the Scaven Tide box. There's a few key things like if some people will remember, like I kind of went on a big spiel about how manifestations, specifically static manifestations, are going to be locking people from charging. That's something that was addressed in the FAQ.
Yep.
Now they don't do that. So basically you can just like walk into combat and punch them if you want to, and you can charge away from them if you want to also. That's a pretty big change. Also, hey Big Ron, how's it going? And Asri. And then there's a couple other things. There's some interesting stuff that kind of plays into actually an ogre thing that I really like, which is there's if you affect the power level like of a wizard, you know, modify it in any way, and that wizard also happens to be a priest, which power level does it modify? Because you're just saying like subtract the power level by 1 or add 1 power level or something. And the answer was both. Which means if you have something like Witchbane Curse, you are subtracting both a cast and a chant from someone. Or in Ogor Mawtribes, it is rumored that the Maw Pot, actually it's confirmed by Goonhammer, that the Maw Pot adds 1 to a wizard's power level, and then you can make a hero a priest, so you could basically have a double caster, double chanter. But chances are you're not going to be able to actually do both in the same phase. It's just you'll have the possibility, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
so that's pretty interesting. And yeah, like lots of really interesting stuff in all of the order faction packs. As I kind of predicted, like there's a ton of small differences from the Dude Trust Me's that actually have huge consequences.
Right.
Yeah, like one of them definitely being like for Lumineth, a lot of people were afraid. We were hearing that like the Cenarian Lightener had like a make something ethereal spell, and people were like, "Oh, I'm going to do that on my Dawn Riders." Sounds great. They're going to be a 3-up ethereal. They'll be -1 to hit because they're Venari, and it's just going to be this horrible like fast anvil that's also a hammer on the charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it only applies to infantry, so they can't do that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, is that was a difference from the Dude Trust Me? Okay. That wasn't an FAQ thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, just lots of little stuff like that. Tons of stuff to go over.
Right.
So if anyone has any like questions or interesting things that they found out in the chat, we're more than happy to hear about it or answer them.
Right.
And yeah, did you have any big takeaways from like the rules themselves?
I mean, we had the rules already. So not really, no. And like, even looking at the points, I was kind of like, okay, I can start to make lists, but like, I don't really have all the info. And it just, honestly, it feels horrible, like just not having enough info. I went to play a game with Liam yesterday, my son, and he was going to play Night Haunt, of course. And like, the person who arranged it, like, really arranged it nicely, but it doesn't have a lot of the key information. Like, I couldn't tell whether, like, it said Reikenor is a, he has this ability, and if you do this ability, then he gets +1 to his cast or whatever, and or power level, depending on what you do. And then, so I was like, okay, he must be a caster then, right? And then I was like, oh shoot, now I remember that it's, you know, that the info is on the GW, like, they actually put up his war scroll, so I could go check it. But by that time, it was just like, okay, we can't just do this all game. Like, and then second of all, we don't even have enough information to actually play a game with the stuff that he has. So, yeah, we ended up not playing, but, you know, it's hard to say. Like, I started making Scaven lists, but I don't feel like I have enough info, and it's just going to be it's just going to be like a guess. You know what I mean? So until like the actual, like, until we get the faction pack for Scaven tomorrow, I feel like there's not much point even building a list, because I'm just like, it's guessing.
Yeah, it's really tough to be able to actually build lists without just those really, really specific things. Even if there's like a lot of Dude Trust Me rules out there, like it's just not quite enough, because there's always going to be differences between those and the real thing.
Yeah. And like,
so
even just like looking through it is difficult too. Like, finding stuff, like, it takes forever.
Yeah.
So unless you've like sat down and memorized all the information. So yeah, I mean, like, you know, so I would like to say one thing too before I go into that. But like earlier I was kind of saying like, yeah, we were kind of saying there's FAQs already, right? And I actually like, I do, like, I had to do a couple of rants or whatever, but I did want to just say that, like, I'm sorry for, like, or not I'm sorry for it, but like, I want to say, like, GW is doing like a pretty good job. Like, they're kind of in a bind where they have to make rules that are as concise as possible, but still have, you know, perspicuity, and still be, you know, as plain and short a language as possible, and like interrupt, you know, have all these keywords and whatnot. So I think it's very difficult for them to not have a certain level of FAQs come out pretty quick, because I'm not realizing like the cascading effect of the different, you know, words and keywords and rules, and you know what I mean? It's like layered like a lasagna, and I so my heart goes out to them. Like, I think it's a lot harder than people realize, because like, none of us have ever made a game before. You know what I mean? But this rollout, everything, this is a bad idea. I think it was made up by the PR team, and the PR team was out taking a leak or something like that, because this is and like the tournament, all of this could have been avoided, but if they just, like, even if they did the stupid rollout that no one likes, by the way, no one ever liked the rollout, right? But if you're gonna do that, then don't go for the meme release date. It's like, well, it's Skaven, so we have to release it on the 13th. No, you didn't. You really didn't. And like, did you notice that like this last week, like the week in between, it's like 4 40K Black Library books. That's their whole release. So like, come on, man. Like I love the, you know, like in the rules or whatever, instead of doing 12 inches, if you do 13 inches, okay, that's cute. You know what I mean? But you don't need to do it for like the release of a major, like your biggest product of the year. Like that's crazy. I don't know, the whole thing. Anyway, rant over. I'm sorry. Yo, Big Ron, thanks for being a member. 5 months and still coming back for more. You poor bastard. I don't know what we did.
I don't know who would subject themselves to that, but
I know.
Thanks anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
No, it is a big
real.
help actually. Everyone that does become a channel member really helps us with like some of the ongoing costs of the channel and stuff like that. And we do have some goals in the future for making the channel even better. So if you like what you see and you got to spare a couple bucks, maybe give it a shot. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. It really helps. And even just, I'll just take a second to just say liking, subscribing, commenting goes a long way. All of these things, including the memberships, feed into the algorithm and help people find the channel. But it really helps us. Yeah, like you said, we're trying to grow this thing. We've got some big goals in mind to improve the quality of the stream. But first, we've all dumped like so much money into this channel. Yeah. Anyway, thanks again, Big Ron. I don't know how that. Yo, ooh. Pat. Speaking of very much, thank you. That's so kind, man. We appreciate you, man. That's so nice. Jeez.
Just reset the counter. All right, we're just gonna keep.
Big Ron. Oh my god.
Alex got it again.
Alex got it. Are you doing that on purpose? If you're doing it on purpose, it's still funny. Oh my god, that's too funny though.
Thank you so much, Pat, and thank you, Big Ron, again. This is just going to be a thank you stream at this point. Thank you guys very much.
I'm okay with that. We should
also,
probably
see Azri said that it's got 18 gluttons to paint and no time to paint them. I see you too saw the Season of War battle report, because good God, gluttons are just straight value now.
Are they?
Crazy. Yes.
Better than before?
They went down in points, and they're the same.
What? Everything went
else
up.
In the edition is going up.
Everything, unless they majorly change their rules.
Yeah, exactly. Everything in the edition is going up, and it's getting like worse usually. Glutton stayed the same, even got an interesting ability, and went down by like 10%.
What? That's crazy.
So if you want like 42 gluttons is like actually a valid list.
What?
Just running down the table if you want to.
Hey man, you know what? If you're like a glutton stan like Carson, then that's great. I don't think they realized their concept. Wow.
Yeah, I can't paint that many.
Jeez.
Can't paint that many gluttons.
Not that quickly.
No.
Wow. Are they hitting on 3s?
4s and 2s now.
Oh my god.
So
then
it's
now
effectively, it's effectively very similar as to what it was. But you can
it's a little swingier, probably, but
yeah, exactly.
Shoot.
Well, it's kind of it's the kind of thing. It's like it's a little swingier on the hit, but it's way less swingy on the wound.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So if you roll like an inordinate amount of 2s, previously that would really hurt you, and now it would hurts you half the time. Huh. Yeah, that's incredible. Wow, I don't know why I said it like that. Nick, thank you so much. Channel hype. So excited for Seraphon. I'm toying with a bunch of lists for Tacoma, and they're all thick. With 2 C's, by the way, in case you couldn't see that. And stupid. I love it. Oh, yeah. Honestly, like, okay, we'll get into Seraphon in a bit. But thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. It means so much. This is a super on a live. Okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's a super chat. Yeah. It's not anyway. I was just blown away, and I am now dumb. That implies that I wasn't dumb before, but you know, that's all I got to say.
Yes.
Crusty laugh. But the Plague Priest going to Legends is word. I think you mean worse. It's reminding me of. Okay, this is a crazy total tangent, but like, so Bison just came out. The original bad guy from Street Fighter 2. He just came out. He came out in Street Fighter 6, right? And then after he does this like crazy super, he like stands there and if you have him in English, it looks like he looks over his shoulder and he goes word. Like that. It's so stupid, right? And I was like, what the hell is that, right? But apparently what he says is worm. But now anytime someone does it, everyone in the chat just goes word, you know?
Word.
Yeah, oh man. I still hear it as word. Like I've never heard worm, even though I know what he's supposed to be saying. Oh, weird. Yeah, I hate it, Bahamut. Like the prayer lore is super good in Scaven now, and now we only have access with like 350 point models or more. Or 340 point models or more. But I hate it. Hopefully we get a Plague Priest back. I think they're doing that because you can't buy a Plague Priest separate unless you buy and build a bell, and then what do you call it? Unless you build a bell and then build the priest separate and then buy a base. So that's what they're choosing to do, and it's super dumb. I'm really annoyed. But what are you gonna do? Yeah. Moving right along. Yeah, good to see you guys. Rip Underworld's warbands, I know. And like the worst thing too is like when that happened, right? Like I keep consoling myself and other people who are like, man, I just bought the Plague Priest pack. And I kept saying, well, at least you can use the guy on foot as a regular Plague Priest. You can just proxy it.
Not the right base size, I assume?
No, it's just they've eliminated the Plague Priest on foot.
Oh,
They've
yes.
kicked.
Yeah,
that's what Bahamut was saying. They've kicked him to Legends. So it's just like, okay, that's great. I guess I can still use Skittershank, but anyway. Between Screech and the Corruptor, yeah. So if you want to do that, you got to have one or the other. Anyway, should we talk about? What do we talk about? We've already talked about the rules quite a bit, right? Do we want to talk about the points?
Yeah, we can talk about the points.
Okay.
Just like general thoughts on who won.
Who won?
The points game.
I'm guessing it was ogres.
Ogres are doing pretty good.
Pretty good,
quite good. I guess if we're skipping straight to ogres, I can give like a bit of a spiel on that for sure. Let's just scroll down to that there.
Oh sure, yeah. They are what page are they on?
They are page.
Did you guys like how I literally
31.
opened it up for the first time on this browser and it went straight to Scaven because of my other browsers? That's where I was.
Page 31.
31, cool. On the actual like on the PDF bottom, yeah,
yep.
Nice. Okay. Can you guys see that okay?
So there's some interesting things here. I get so just talking about like points. Iron Guts stayed the exact same.
Iron Guts are the particularly slappy guys.
Yeah, right? Or just higher rend and fight twice.
Okay.
And then
they still fight twice?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, presumably. And
right. Yeah, I guess you're waiting until
allegedly.
Friday. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people know for sure. But anyway, sorry. Gluttons they went down 20 points, which is pretty big. A lot of the monster trucks went like way, way, way down.
Right. They lost quite a few things, to be fair. I'm not mad at that.
So ogres just straight up do not have anvils anymore. Like,
right.
There's nothing on a 3-up save in the army.
Wow.
Anymore. Like Frostlord on Stonehorn is a 4-up save, does not have a ward, is not -1 to wound. Like he's not an anvil anymore. And I think that in a couple of my practice games, I was kind of playing him as such. I'm like, he sucks now.
Yeah.
But he's still good. Spoilers. Still very
Yeah.
good. Just because he can be very fast. But as you see as well, there's the regiment bingo that's kind of happening there, where you have like the army is split between Gutbusters and Beastclaw Raiders, and then a couple things have neither, like the Gorger Maw Pack and Noblars. So you actually have to have either a Tyrant or a Frostlord in order to even have Noblars in your army.
You have to have a tyrant on foot.
Tyrants are only on foot.
Oh, right. I was thinking Frostlord. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Tyrant or what was it?
Or a Frostlord on either Thundertusk or Stonehorn.
Okay.
Both of those unlock any Ogor Mawtribes units. So you have to have either one of those if you want any Noblars in your army, essentially. So that's a pretty big thing, or
Right.
like big reason to take them. I think a Tyrant, in my opinion, based on the stats that we've seen, is just like straight up attacks. To be taking whatever you want in your army, it's just 180 point tax. It's like way too overcosted, I think.
Is he bad?
He's pretty bad. He doesn't have any buff abilities.
Did he used to be on a 3-up as well?
He could be if you wanted him to, but he used to also be 150 points. Like he went up 30 points.
Weird.
And gained like almost nothing.
Weird. But
I
guess
great.
He is a hero though. I don't know. I mean, but like you probably want a Frostlord. I mean, is a Frostlord on a Stonehorn still pretty good though, right?
Yeah, the attacks are pretty much the same as they were, except the 6 Rock Hard Horn attacks got more reliable because they're on 4s and 2s instead of 4s and 3s.
Wow. Okay, then. So he's good. So then you just take him, and then you get the Noblars.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
not bad.
Yeah.
Because Noblars seem like
reasonable.
they seem really good for their cost to me.
Noblars are the least expensive. They're the cheapest screen in the game now.
Yeah.
There is no other 20
wild.
block of unit that's 120 points. The next closest is 140 points.
That's crazy. And Clan Rats now are 160 points.
Yeah. 170. Stabas, I think, are 140. Shooters are 160 or 170.
And
like,
Noblars
everything...
are better than Clan Rats. Like
Noblars are excellent. They don't have their same ability anymore. It's a little different. It's only once per turn now.
Yeah.
But multiple Noblar units can stack onto one target now.
Okay.
Jeez. But the thing is, like, I think all screens kind of got buffed in this edition because bravery is not a thing anymore.
They did, and I actually brought that up. A lot of people were like getting pretty crazy in the chat, in some of the chats about Clan Rats, and I was just like, anything with a low bravery before is now better, but they are 1.6 times the cost they were before. So. Yeah. That's a lot. Now, then there's also the fact that Scaven can bring half of them back if you have X, Y, and Z going on. But are you bringing back Clan Rats?
Yeah. As Ray says, they're not really 120 to 300 points to do the Tyrant tax. I agree if you're taking a Tyrant. But I think there's a valid reason to take a Frostlord on Stonehorn or Frostlord on Thundertusk. And if you're bringing those, you might as well bring some Noblars along too, right? Like, it's a tax if what you were planning on bringing isn't what can bring those things. If you're only bringing like a Tyrant or a Frostlord into your list purely to bring Noblars in, then that's when it becomes a tax. But I still think that a Frostlord on Stonehorn has enough use that it's not a tax. It's a little funky. I'd rather not have Noblars in my Stonehorn's regiment so I can bring more Beastclaw Raiders or something, but
right.
That's how it is.
And I mean, and there are other things you can do too. Like you could do like Frostlord on Stonehorn, and then you can on Thundertusk unlocks adding an Icebrow Hunter. Oh no, they both do. It was so small on my screen. It was so hard to read. What do you think about that?
Like unlocking like one-off heroes and stuff like that?
Yeah, because there's a couple of those in Scaven as well.
I think it depends on the hero. Like specifically for Ogres, I don't think anyone's going to bring either of those. Or I guess we have.
But you had a plan. You had a plan for your Icebrow Hunter.
I'm painting more Noblars now. Is what I'm doing.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I've thrown the Bloodpath Hunter in the bucket. There's no way that they can make it worth it for 170 points. That's ridiculous.
Jeez, 170.
pretty silly.
Well, and
But yeah,
now that you don't need heroes too, to give commands to some of your dumb units, right? Like, what is the value of a hero?
that's what I'm saying. Is that a hero like needs to be a buff piece, or it needs to be a hammer
Yeah,
of some kind?
yeah, or an
'Cause if it's
anvil,
not,
like, or it has to
sure,
have a
sure,
function, right?
yeah. But if it has
Yeah,
neither of those things, it's like, what's the point? And I don't
yeah,
like this. That's the one pattern that I don't like, is that sometimes there are heroes that purely are there just to unlock certain things, and
yeah.
you're like, why are you forcing me to do something I don't want to do?
Exactly. It's like, so they got rid of battle line so that it wouldn't be this feels bad thing, and now they're trying to give us a reason to bring what was formerly battle line units in OC and different things like that, right? And sometimes it's like, you know, in recursion and other different abilities, but now they went from feels bad in battle line to feels bad in the heroes, and it's just like, I don't think you guys are learning from your mistakes here, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a couple other armies that I think did pretty well.
Okay.
I pretty much agree with what Asri said in the chat. Like, Seraphon's doing pretty well for a lot of their, like, what was previously coalesced is actually pretty well pointed now, I would say.
It does
Like,
seem like it. The Croxagor seem a little bit expensive.
yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of Agrodon Lancers. Yeah, Agrodon Lancers.
I was looking at those because now their rule isn't stupid as well, and I love the look of them. Like, they're the coolest unit in the whole army, in my opinion. So
They're kind of scary now, I think.
I think they can be pretty good. Yeah, and the Agrodon, the Scarvet on Agrodon is pretty good too. So
yeah. Also, I love that, Matthew, in the chat. You sound like a Batman villain. What's the value of a hero?
Oh man, Batman has the best villains, so I'll take that as a compliment. Or was it me? Was it you who said that? I don't even remember now.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know. Both of us said it at the same time in unison.
Yeah.
It was creepy.
I mean, you know, we're pretty good at that. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming, yeah, they're at the top, and they are in alphabetical order, I think. Yeah. So Seraphon, yeah. What do we want to talk about here?
Seraphon, I think there's a couple things. I think that Starborn, as we know it, is dead.
Yeah. And good riddance.
Yeah, I don't think anyone liked playing against that version of Seraphon. I know a lot of people that liked playing as that version of Seraphon.
For sure. And like, it was very blue deck meets like cheap stuff, but like outside of the Seraphon groups, like, my God, the hate is real. And like, I don't play Starborn, but I played with like Croak in Coalesced, not a great combo, but like, people hate Croak, and they're just like, die, like, screw you, I hate you forever kind of thing. And I'm like, God, that sucks, because the model is one of the coolest they've ever made, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, Croak has like hard counters now.
Oh yeah.
Anything that can shut off healing, anything that can shut off wards, he's just done. Because his ability now
gone.
Yeah, his ability now, for those that don't know, is that there's a couple changes to him, but for his like health ability, it's the same thing where you roll 3d6, and if it exceeds 20, when you add the amount of damage that he's taken, or not exceeds, or equals or exceeds 20, then he just dies.
Yeah.
But now it's not the end of every phase that he does that, it's the end of every turn, so you have a lot more time to actually stack that up. And if you have any sort of anti-healing tech, what happens at the end of the turn isn't that he just resets his health to 0, it's that he heals 18 wounds. So if he's diseased, if he's got weird flame on him, or any other rule that you can think of that interrupts healing, all of a sudden he just can't do that. And then his damage sticks. He does have a 4-up ward now, which is pretty huge.
Yep.
But there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of ward shut-off tech that seems to be out there.
Yep.
So that's, I don't think it's as big of a deal. He's also just not as lethal. What is he, a triple caster now, or is he still quadruple?
I don't remember.
Either way, his main spell is only 12-inch range. It's not extended to 18 anymore because the banner doesn't do that.
Yep.
So it's not this like massive bubble of no zone. So he's significantly less scary than he was, I think.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that he was the entire army essentially.
Yeah.
for Seraphon. Whereas now I could see someone taking him and he's just kind of like a yeah. So he's a 3-caster, no bonuses to unbind. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure he's got the board wide unbind still, but like
He does, yeah.
it's not a big deal. I don't think anyone has any pluses to unbind. I haven't seen that. Or if there are, it's like very
there is.
slim.
There's oh man. I saw at least one thing.
Either way, it's really rare.
It is very rare. And yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, he can cast through his skink once per turn.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of Agrodons for Seraphon. They're pointed really well. I think they gained a wound, their ability is better.
How many wounds are they? Are they 6 now?
They're 5 now, I think. Or were they always 5?
I think they were always 5, yeah. Yeah, they were always 5. Yeah, no worries.
What changed about them? Something changed about them.
Croxagor went up. They went up 2 wounds, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Or 1 from the end of last edition, but whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I like, and they've done some interesting things like with the Ripperdactyls. You can do like the Blot Toad on. They just stick to up to 3 units depending on how many you've got. But there's a lot of interesting little things in there. The Terra Wings are like really, they're pretty good against non, heroes and monsters. I think, yeah. A lot of fun little things like that. So. +2 to their move. They move 10 now?
Yeah, they move 10 now.
Whoa! That's huge. They used to move 8, which was stupid.
The guys on top
Stupid.
have anti-monster +1 rend, charge +1 damage. What was it? Yeah, I think it's basically just like that they're faster and their ability is just actually useful now.
Well, and now you don't have to be in combat at the end. You're not incentivized to not kill things, which is like crazy dumb, right?
You don't even actually have to have swung. Like, you don't actually have to have connected with any attacks. Because using a fight ability now encompasses piling in.
Right.
And then you can make your attacks after that. So you can use the fight ability, do your pile in if like whatever it was that you're going to fight dies.
Yeah.
Then they still tick up.
Yep, for sure.
So
yep. That was awesome. The problem before, was that if you killed the thing, you weren't in combat at the end, and then therefore you lost all your rage points. But
yeah, Speed of Huachi, the Asterism to give more movement, and then the Agrodon Lancers, like they can be they can be zooming. Like it's pretty crazy.
So I guess we'll skip over to the Seraphon rules here real quick. What was interesting was there's 2 lores. There's 2 spell lores. So do you pick? You pick, right?
You have to pick one.
Okay. Because I was talking to Matthias the other day, because I saw the, what's it called? The prayer lore for Scaven, and then we have a spell lore as well. And I was like, do you have to choose one or the other? It's like you get a spell lore or a prayer lore, and he was saying, no, you get both. So then when I saw this, I was like, you don't get both here, I hope, because that's kind of too much, you know?
Yeah. You get 1 spell lore, 1 prayer lore, and 1 manifestation lore.
Right, okay, cool. That's how I had it down in my mind, but... So, I mean, like, yeah, I think they're both kind of good, though, you know? Like, it's going to be hard, and there's no way of unlocking more enhancements of any kinds as of yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, you get 1 heroic trait, 1 artifact, unless you have something that gives you additional ones like Gargant's does.
Do you think they'll do that?
I kind of hope not, actually. I kind of hope not. It's nice having to choose instead of someone just like triple dipping or something like that.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm in the minority about that.
I'm of 2 minds about it. I feel like you do. You know, it's kind of like I used to wear. You know, in Japan, everyone wears a uniform. You know, to their high school.
Kimono.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kimono. Yeah. I don't know why I think that's funny.
I get it.
Yeah. So, And it was nice. I actually really liked wearing a uniform because I didn't need to think about what I was going to wear to school that day. You know what I mean? It was very freeing, and a lot of people feel that way. And not obviously, it's not just anyway. So
Yeah, and
my
imagine
point
a
though,
kimono is freeing in the way a kilt is. Like it's
you jackass.
a lot of airflow.
I actually only wore one kimono ever, and it was at like a homestay, and they were like, "Got to dress up the foreigner in the kimono." Most people don't ever wear kimono because they're actually quite thick and they're kind of heavy, right? It's usually yukata you wear, right? That's what you wear to festivals and stuff. They're very light and breezy, and they're nice. But anyway, you bastard. But the thing is, though, the downside, though, the other part, I remember I said I'm of two minds about it. The other side to this is if you're into making lists, if you like to tinker with lists and stuff like that, adding a warlord in AOS 3 and then you can unlock spells, you can unlock artifacts and do all these things. I feel like making a list is simple enough now that there's a little bit of the depth is gone when I'm making my list. Obviously, it's very early days. We just learned how to build a list, right? But you know, I think right now we're just getting into the game, so it's like it's a lot. But I think it might be a little too simple like a year from now. Where we're kind of like, I wish I could just do a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that. I've been having a pretty good time like list building for ogres. Just like I found myself in the last week basically saying like, this is my list for Tacoma. Boom, locked in. This is what I'm going to do. And then I realize something, or like I see something and I'm like, oh crap, this changes everything. And then like I mix it up just a little bit more, and I've been having a lot of fun just doing that over the course of the week. But I see what you mean, where like a year from now, that's not going to be the case anymore. And it's going to just be a solved problem.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe in some sense that's kind of engineered, just because they probably want people playing multiple armies and like buying multiple armies and stuff like that. Just because if you can't get the depth of list building in one army, and you realize the next army over actually does something that you want to do otherwise, you're more likely to buy it. So I could see that being a thing.
That's a good point. And I would like to point out something else too. The GHB can change everything, anything that they want. In a year from now, they said we're not doing 6 month GHBs for this first year at the very least. So, and by the way, I think so. We saw a 1 year GHB the last year of AOS 3, right? I don't think we're gonna get 6 month GHBs ever again.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think it's a sales thing. I think they noticed that there's like a huge dip in the sales of their GHB.
Yeah.
Which is too bad if you're playing a lot of games. It's good news if you're not playing a lot of games, but it's bad news if you are. And it's also bad news if they make like a crappy rule like bounty hunters. If people remember like almost 3 years ago now when bounty hunters came out, it was just like, ugh, I can't wait for this GHB to be over, you know?
Yeah.
So
I do hope that, so with the first GHB that's coming out, we've seen it already. We know all the stuff that's coming out of it. Basically, you have like an honor guard in your general's regiment, and they can do one of three things. It's pretty interesting. It's very simple though. Like it's very, very simple. There's no, like a lot of the time you're just kind of seeing what your opponent, how they like plop down on the table, and you're like, okay, I do this. Like this is my honor guard for this game. And I think that that's not going to last a year. That's going to get pretty stale. And I think the only thing that's going to carry us a year is because it's a new edition. And I'm hoping that next year's GHB is going to be just as like complex as what we just experienced, where it's like you have a whole new spell lore, a whole new way of like casting spells.
Right.
You like with Primal Dice and whatnot, you've got some enhancements that are new. Like I hope that ends up happening, because if it's just the same thing in a year where like 3 abilities change essentially, it's going to be a little rough. I don't know if that's going to last a whole year on its own.
Totally. By the way, I don't remember if we mentioned. Oh, and Pat said earlier. He says, "I get a sense that there is some. We want you to build your list like this from GW this edition." And Alex agreed. And I definitely, I think that seems to be the case. But I did want. I can't remember if I said this last week or not. But you know how we're getting like the. Do we talk about how we're getting the ring GHBs? It looks like, even though we're getting like GHB cards in the General's Handbook or in Scaven Tide and whatnot, we're still getting those. but it's not the same because you don't have all the rules and obviously in these little deck of cards. But that's kind of interesting. So I am really glad that we're keeping the ring binder GHBs, so you can just quick reference the rules and whatnot, because no one wants to carry the giant core rulebook with them to tournaments and stuff like that. But yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Where should we go from here?
Did you have any things that you saw that were particularly interesting, or that you?
I should have probably been taking notes, to be honest. I definitely had quite a few thoughts. Yeah, there's so much, and I have been mostly concentrating on Scaven, but but having said that, without knowing their rules and having access to everything, it's pretty hard to make a decision on the kinds of things I want to run. Also, for me, it'll depend on I'm looking at I like the Deceiver a lot, for what we saw of the the leak or whatever. But he's a lot more points, and it's not super reliable, but it seems interesting, But then it's okay, well, he unlocks here. I'll go down to Scaven. He unlocks the ability to take what are they called? The Death Masters, but also he has stuff that interacts with Eshin units. But then it's well, what if the Eshin units suck? You know what I mean? There's so many things that I just don't know. So I've been looking at them. I've been looking at Idoneth Deepkin, and they look interesting to me. They look very interesting. I'm excited for them. And I meant to look at Flesh Eater Courts, but again, it's well, I'm not going to get the rules for them until Thursday or something. So, yeah.
It'll be a little tough to actually be completing lists and whatnot. We know some realistically we can only judge order right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
even then, without the context of other books and stuff, it's
it can be hard.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
You're like, okay, this apple, it doesn't get better than this apple. You know what I mean? And then you see the other apple, and you're like, oh god, this apple sucks.
Yeah.
If we're going to compare them, we need both sides. We need everything that we're going to compare them to, right? Because I've seen a lot of people complain about how their army is worse now, But it seems like everyone except for ogres and maybe a couple of others are doing that though, right? And I mean even ogres too. I know you were just saying your initial reaction to the Frost Lord on Thunder Tusk is just oh man, he's not an anvil anymore. I think I don't think I want him anymore, And then he might be good.
Yeah. It was a hard thing to come to terms to that that was the number one thing I did in a lot of tournaments. For my note for myself was just I have to be more reserved than I think I have to be a lot of the time. And my lesson after seeing the Frostlord on Thunder Tusk again, Stonehorn again this time, I was just I have to be even more reserved than that.
Wow, yeah.
I have to be even more scalpely. Make sure he powers through at the end. Make sure he does blah 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 blah. He has to be a scalpel more than anything. Get in, nuke something, get out, and that's it.
Which is a hilarious statement to make about a giant ogre riding a Stonehorn. He's got to be a scalpel, thin, precise cuts.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Makes total sense. And I think that ogres has kind of changed from, or it hasn't really changed a lot, but it's definitely an army of I bet I have more hammers to trade than you do.
Right.
And chances are the answer is yes. You do have a lot more hammers to trade than the other person does, and if you play them correctly, then it's going to be a really powerful army. Which is why if someone runs literally 8 units of gluttons, then it's just going to run over some people, or it might not. If that person just pushes all their models up into the center of the table, maybe they'll just get alpha striked off the board, right? So
that's true.
Give and
that's
take.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that. Alex made a good point. He said it can't be understated how impactful the companion keyword is on the game. So many buffs don't apply to them. Yeah. Thoughts on
that was another,
compared to... Oh, yeah. I do want to
that was another big part of the FAQ, actually, is that previously we saw in the leaked core rules that it said something like the attacks characteristic or the attack sequence can't be changed for companion attacks by friendly abilities. But now they just straight up said you cannot change, or you cannot do anything that affects the weapon characteristics of a companion from friendly abilities.
Can
So
you give
like,
me an example of what you mean before?
so previously people were arguing like, okay, if you change rend, that's not part of my attack sequence. That's part of my opponent's save sequence. So therefore, the companion ability,
Oh, the
if I give
lawyers
them
got
more rend or
involved.
something like that,
I
same thing
see.
with damage. If you give them +1 damage with something, now we know nothing about the attack profile can change for a
Okay.
companion weapon unless
Okay.
explicitly called out. So
And
basically, the important thing to note now is that if you're asking if a buff is going to apply to a companion,
yeah.
the only way it does is if it specifically says it applies to companions. And an
Wow.
example of that is all out attack, where it
Yeah, I
does
was about to
specifically
say.
say,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Huh.
but yeah, most of the time you're not getting buffs for those things, which is pretty huge, right?
That's what
Pretty
she said.
huge.
Yeah. Did I accidentally close down? Oh no, I didn't. I just went forward. Let's see. So Alex was talking about Idoneth Deepkin. I'm quite excited about them. Um, I think they're going to be like Deepkin have always been like a you know a scalpel army and difficult to play, and that if you're not very careful with how you use them, they all die because now they're more resilient now because you have access to a 5-up ward, like a movable like buff piece in the Leviathan. And this is the final. I hope this is the final answer to the Leviathan. Like I'm not sure that he's like 500 points is a lot. You know what I mean? Like you need to get a lot out of that guy for 500 points to be a quarter of your army. But it's interesting, and there's a few different ways to make them more hardy than they've ever been actually. In the boats and different things like that. The aspect of the storm looks good again. But the Alex was talking about the Ishlian versus the Morsar Guard. I really like them both now. I've always had one unit of Ishlian that I like to bring. Mobile Anvil. They were on a 4-up Ethereal before, so that's kind of like, I don't know, man. But yeah, they're really interesting. So now we've got the Morsar Guard, and it's different than on, I was looking at their Spearhead one and going, I hope this isn't what it is. And it's not. So they are still a 14-inch move, so they kept their movement, which is nice. 4 health, 4-up save. They kept everything there. They're 1 control, which is the same as before, because they were 4 wounds. But the Volt Spear now it used to be 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, or no, it was no rend before, 1 damage, unless they were on the charge, and then it was -2 rend and 2 flat damage, and they were 3s and 3s, right? So their wound characteristic got a lot worse. But then there's stuff like the aspect of the storm. Like there's different ways of getting their then +1 to wound. Lotan lost that, of course. And then now they've got +1 rend for infantry. So if you're charging in against infantry, you're going to be doing more. And then they just keep +1 damage on the charge. And now the Fangmora Fangs and Lashing Tail they're the same as before, except now they're hitting on 4s and wounding on 3s. They used to be 3s and 3s, -1 rend, D3 damage. So that hasn't really changed, except for they just got worse. But now their Biovoltic Blast is not once per game. I don't know why it ever was. Maybe back in AOS 1, where mortal wounds were a lot less common than they were in AOS 2, but still not really sure. Anyway, it just says if this unit charged this phase, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch to be the target. So it's unit to unit now. So it doesn't matter about models. Roll a number of dice equal to the models in this unit. For a 4 through 5, inflict 1 mortal wound. For a 6, inflict D3. Add 1 to the roll if there are more units in the target unit, or more models in the target unit than this unit, right? So none of that hasn't really changed, except it's just not once per game anymore. And this is a huge quality of life change, because before you had to remember which unit had done their Biovoltic Blast, and I don't know. It was just kind of a feels bad. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty excited for them, even though they kind of got worse in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? But I don't know. They kept their movement, which is huge. And they also have just 1 rend all the time now on their spears. So there's a few things like that And now the Ishlian Guard are really interesting. I think I'm kind of hoping that this is sort of like the final version of them too. I said that about the Leviathan. Everything else is the same on their, on their little wheel. The Hellsabers used to be 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1/1, and now they're 3s and 4s, and +1 rend on infantry. So again, and then obviously the eels are the same. And then the Biovoltic Barrier, pick a enemy unit in combat on a 3-up, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic of the target unit's weapons for the rest of the turn. So you charge them in, right? I mean, you don't have to charge them in, right? But like you could charge them in and you can make them a systematic debuff piece, right? So now I'm kind of wishing I had more of these guys. I wish I had one more unit. Because I got a lot of Morsar, and I've only got 1 unit of Ishlian. And then this unit has a 5-up ward if it charged in the same turn. And again, I think this is like the right answer in terms of like, Ethereal was kind of weird because Ethereal on a 4-up save is like, I don't know. Like, Nighthaunt have ways of making that good. They have access to a 5-up ward and all these other things. Whereas if these guys don't, they just, I don't know, they were kind of a turd before. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I want a little bit of both right now. And I want a sprinkling of sharks. Like you guys were saying earlier in the chat, it feels like they want you to build a list with a variety of things. And I've always wanted to do that. Literally, like that's always been my thing. So I'm kind of here for it. I don't like spam lists, so yeah. Those were my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how IDK is going to perform. Like, it seems like their points are relatively okay. Like,
I
don't see anything crazy.
I don't think I don't think so either. And I like that you're like Volturnos is a thing again. He was really strong in book 1, and then book 2 you didn't really see him. So yeah.
Yeah, I do really like the change to the Morsar Guard. That's like actually a pretty potent mortal wound ability, especially if they're going to be going into any sort of horde army whatsoever.
Right.
That's a lot of mortal wounds that could be potentially happening. If you have a unit of 6, it's like 2d3 plus. You're probably doing like 5 to 10 mortal wounds on the charge with that. If you're charging into anything more than 6. Because you roll a number of dice equal to the eels in the unit, right? And you add 1 to the roll the target units more. So that means 5s and 6s are D3 mortal wounds. So 1/3 of them are going to be doing.
So you'll do
average,
on a unit of 1, you'll do D3.
Sorry?
So like if you've got 3 eels, right?
Yeah. I'm saying 6. You have a unit of 6.
Oh, eels. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just it's neat. And it's not even that expensive of a hammer.
Nope.
Right? 170 points times 2, 340 points. That's pretty reasonable, actually.
Well, especially considering everything went up, these guys didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
They were kind of underperforming forever in AOS 3. And so then they kept bringing their points down, and them keeping their points and not losing that much. They're losing some reliability, but then they're gaining like a charge phase, like mortal wound thing that they can do every turn that they charge. So
or countercharge.
Or countercharge. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be. I think eel spam. Could be a valid thing to do still, which is what actually unlocks them though. I guess Volturnos any, and then Achillean King any. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So basically, the Achillean units, Yeah. I gotta find them in Idoneth Deepkin. So yeah. Let's see. Achillean King, any Idoneth Deepkin unit. That's so cool, right? And then Eidolon too. You can just use the Eidolons if you want. So you're not even forced to take an Achillean unit. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
And then, yeah, they're not that restrictive at all. I'm not sure about Lotan though. I think he might be kind of dead again. Like, they got to figure something out for him. He's such a cool character, you know? And, like, he's got a lot of lore with the Namarti, so I feel like he should be like a unique buff piece for them, like the Thrall Master, but, like, he does something different, you know? So you want to take them together. I don't know. And then, like, I feel like he should also have, like, bring an Isharan hero into your unit or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. Did we miss a bunch of stuff? Yo, Dudes of Sigmar, thank you for joining us. I was listening to their podcast. I was telling you, remember? I was listening to their podcast the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
What a nice bunch of folks.
Indeed. How many starter boxes worth of Jezzails is that? That is 6. Yeah. Yeah, Pat just said it. And I'm going to say it now in the future or in the past or whatever. Like, a minute from now.
That's
yeah.
That's the one like solace I have at Tacoma, because that's one thing I was worried about is people just like spamming Jezzails like crazy. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
surely there isn't going to be some psychopath that buys 6 starter boxes and gets them all built and painted in 1 week. Like, hopefully.
There's no way. There's no way. I don't know if I'm going to build them and paint them and then put them on the base, or build them and glue them to the base and then paint them. They look very difficult to paint on there, which just adds more time, right? So, yeah. I love Jezzail so much. Like, I think they're quite good too. Like at 150 points. I think they're quite takeable. You'll need lots of engineers though too, right? To take your scryer units. I'll go back to Scaven. We're going to be jumping around a lot here, folks. Let's see here.
Pat says Carson someone somewhere said hold my warpstone beer. Yes, but also Scaven brew, not warpstone beer. You kidding me?
Oh, damn it, Pat.
Boom.
Get it together, man. Actually, but thanks again for subscribing. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about was KO, which is
okay. Here,
gonna, like...
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
No.
I finally got back to the Scaven. I got to go back to order in a minute. But to take scryer units, right? You need. So you've got the engineer, which is any scryer, bombardier, any scryer. Basically, if they're a scryer hero, right? And you could also do that with like a few other things like screaming bells and whatnot, or any Scaven. But if you're going to take a lot of Jezzail, and by the way, if you are going to take a lot of Jezzail, you need a lot of screens. A lot of screens, by the way. They're going to die to a fart. At least no bravery. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say was, it's interesting. It's fun. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. KO. So yes. I will go back to order.
I did want to bring up KO.
Stinky order.
There's a lot of ways that I think people have said that KO are kind of down to the dumps, just because
really
maybe the points aren't great. Maybe because they have to fly high, it's a lot different. However, it's been brought to my attention rather an interesting combo that they can do. So just to kind of like recap on like how the KO boats work is it's not that anybody is actually garrisoned in the boat anymore. What happens is whenever the boat moves, it essentially brings a number of models with it, and that can vary from boat to boat. Like for instance, the Ironclad at base brings up to 3 units, or a combined model count of up to 22, basically, which sounds like quite a lot. However, so each Ironclad has the option to do a great engine work, and one of them is to basically add 10 to the amount of models and 1 to the amount of units that it can bring. So all of a sudden, that's 32 models with a combined, or 4 units essentially. And that sounds like a lot. It can be transporting a lot and moving around like a lot of people in the same army, but it only moves 10, so it's like not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
However, let me pull up the MS Paint.
Okay.
For MS Paint.
And just real quick too, like they are trying to encourage people to bring a variety of things as well, not do spam lists as much. And there are like upshots to this too. Like you can no longer surround a boat kill the boat, and then everything inside of it dies as well. So there's like a few different things where I don't think it's that bad. But I'm not a KO expert. Oh, and Pat said, disclaimer, I wasn't actually advocating doing a list with that many Giselle. So.
Yeah. All right, so it's time. I'm just going to say...
MS Paint time, everyone!
It's MS Paint time! So
this is
this thing. So one.
This is where your subscription money goes, by the way.
Exactly, is our MS Paint subscription.
This is free program.
Very expensive.
Yeah. I mean, expensive.
So
okay, while you're doing that, I need to grab a water. I am dying.
Sure. Thanks. I'll be right so you've got your ironclad here, right? And we know that as the ironclad moves around, it can have like multiple units around it, which I'm just going to represent with like these circles, essentially. And my dog is going to scream at the same time. And all of these KO, let's say, are like 3 inches, or no, sorry, they have to be holding within 6 inches of the ironclad.
Oh, by the way, Carson, did you want to give credit to anyone who pointed this out to you?
Fred Schmidt. Thank you, Fred.
Nice.
I'm just gonna
go, Fred.
Let's go like this. So they have to be wholly within 6 inches of the boat, and then how it works is essentially whenever the boat moves, it goes to a different spot, like over here. It picks everyone up, and they basically get spawned again wholly within 6 inches of it. Now, because these are units, you have to end outside of 3 inches of them as well whenever you actually move up to them. Not 3 cubed, 3 inches. So basically, you're a net 9 inches away from the actual ironclad when you move up to it in your movement phase. What can happen is when the ironclad redeploys, all of a sudden, even if it rolls a 1, let's say it goes 1 inches back this way and it's 1 inch further away from you, all of these get picked up.
That's crazy.
And he can move them all the way back here.
And
all of a sudden,
crazy.
Even though you move to just outside of 3 of all of those like thunderers or something like that, now you're 10 inches away from the ironclad because it redeployed 1 inch away from you, and all of these guys are all the way back here. In addition to that, there is nothing in the core rules that states that you cannot countershoot if you redeploy. So they can still be doing this and just going blam and shooting you from however far away they are. Now, probably they're going to be out of range because they want to be, but this redeploy tech is going to make a KO list extremely difficult to kind of contend with or like actually nail down. Because with the ironclad having the ability to carry 32 models, you can have an ironclad just rolling around with 30 thunderers and like a navigator and an admiral or something like that, right?
That's crazy.
I guess that's 5 units, but still, like, it's pretty gross. Like, this is going to be one of those ways where if someone knows this trick, it might be kind of easy to kind of get around, but it's going to be really
before
tough.
we lose them, thanks so much for joining us, Jason. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the morning. Have a great night.
Have a good night. It's good to see you.
But dude, that's crazy, though.
Yeah.
Like, that is wild. Do you think that's... Honestly, do you think that's something that's going to get FAQ'd?
Maybe.
Because,
like... Maybe for a little while.
Probably not, but like, if that stays, it's like... It felt like they were trying to make this army not quite as, like, annoying, for lack of a better word, right? And it feels like this is pretty annoying. Honestly, I actually don't think this is a good quality of life. Like, I don't know that it's a great quality of life change in general to be moving all the models in your army each time regardless. And then, like, if every time you redeploy, you're also moving all the little boyos that are with him. That's going to be kind of annoying, probably. I mean, it might suit the kinds of people that would be into this kind of army. I don't know, but like, ooh. Yeah.
It is worth mentioning, this is like the definition of all of your eggs in one basket.
That's
like,
true. But even if you're doing this on a smaller scale, even if you're doing this with like 3 different boats, that's a really powerful ability.
Yeah. Well, you can't redeploy with more than one boat at the same time.
No, I know, but like you have like let's say you have 3 big boats with however many duders fit inside. You've got, like, the one over here, you're moving your ogres in to attack this unit over here, then you're doing it with them, and then in another round, you might be doing it somewhere else. It's still really powerful. You don't have to have all your eggs in one basket for this to be a really powerful ability.
You essentially have to be like pinning them from multiple sides, or like giving them multiple bad choices to make.
And like a lot of armies don't have the kind of movement to do that.
Yep.
So
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that even if you go, let's say you're 3 inches from the dudes on either side, essentially, right?
Yeah.
You put like something of yours, you can manage to move up laterally, kind of go on each side like this, and you're still 9 inches away to either side. They redeploy out, and they end up back here, but they can still, or let's say they decide to move like, the boat decides to move like this way or something like that, because this is the biggest threat, like this guy here.
Yep.
They can still put something out of the boat, like right here, after the boat moves to like back here.
Yeah.
And then just counter shoot this threat off the board if they really wanted to. So even if you get them from both sides, they can still be like crippling the one threat that's actually applying to them. So it's going to be really, really, really difficult to pin them down.
Well, and like, what if you don't have the movement to be surrounding them like 20 inches apart, like most armies, right?
Yeah,
Dude.
it's going to be really tough. Now, this is not great on primaries. Definitely not. I think this list is pretty much like 100% reliant on
shenanigans,
like just nuking people off of certain parts of the board.
You mean like shooting them off?
Yeah, exactly. Because like 30 Thunderers sounds like a lot, but their output did actually go down, and the whole army is essentially like trapped at Ren 1 most of the time.
Do we want to look at what Thunderers are?
Sure. Yeah, we can look at what Thunderers are. I'll stop sharing now.
Okay. Arcanet Company, Endrin Riggers, Skywardens, Thunderstock, or Grunstock Thunderers. Grumble, grumble.
So if you have a unit of 10, you basically have 4. You could have 4 fumigators or deck sweepers, 4 mortars or aether cannons, and then 4 rifles.
I just feel bad for the people who have to like put these models together and organize all the little bits.
They combine them. When I say a fumigator or deck sweeper, that's one profile.
Oh, okay.
It says that on it.
Is the deck sweeper the gun that is just a bunch of guns strapped to like a piece of wood?
I think
like
so.
I've never seen that before, and I actually kind of think it's amazing. Yeah. What a hilarious thing.
But as you can see, it's all like 10-inch range, 18-inch range. It's pretty short range, so they have to get quite close to you to be able to do that. And then everything that they have is Ren 1. So if they pop up outside of like Stormcast, Slaves to Darkness, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, something like that just can all-out defense, like these are kind of going to bounce. And if they're not really able to like stay on the point after they've nuked something off, that's going to be a pretty big problem for them. But I'm just saying, like, this is going to be, this whole redeploy shenanigan business is going to be like, it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. So I wanted to talk about it.
Thank you for talking. I mean, I'm not going to the tournament, but still, you know, I don't know, like, I think this is a mistake. I think that they should change this one ability and then maybe give them some buffs or some point changes a little bit in the future. Like, if it turns out that they're not great, I would rather see that than this kind of, I don't want to say like toxic, but like it's kind of like a feels bad for everyone involved. It sort of feels like it's like, well, this, like, because you're kind of encouraging it. It's like, if this is my only way that I can win, and I like Thunder, I like KO rather, and that's all I want to play, you know, like I get that. Like I was playing Scaven when, you know what I mean? Like when they didn't even have a book, it was just general chaos. And then, you know, anyway, it's just like, I understand the feeling of just wanting to play a particular army. And then it's like, or like I remember if I was, you know, like back in the day in AOS 1, like the only way to play competitive Skaven was this cancerous, like awful pop up and just do crazy amounts of mortal wounds. And then if you don't, like if you don't kill everyone, then you die, right? It was just that kind of thing. So yeah, anyway, I don't know. I feel bad for them, for the non-toxic, you know, lovers out there, which is probably most of them, you know.
Yeah. People who just like the steampunk dwarves. Alex says that they do have range extension tech, which is true. It's mostly in their so they have a battle formation that can do it once per battle at 3 inches to their range. And they have a heroic trait, which is basically just an aura of 12 inches, which adds.
Oh, it's once per battle.
That's that one battle formation. So that's not great. So
Yeah,
like
I mean,
once per battle, their 10-inch range stuff is 15 inches instead. If you
wait.
also do the heroic trait,
Once per battle, their 10-inch stuff is 15 inches?
I'm saying if you do the once per battle, add 3 inches, and then you
Yeah.
also have the heroic trait to add 2 inches on top of that.
Oh, got it. I see.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, even if you just have the heroic trait, that's 20% on to your lowest one. That's
Yep.
not bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But so, well, like looking at a list like this, though, if you go back to the points, we see that an ironclad is 500 points by itself, right?
I don't know if they're any good. Like, I
they're
don't
actually
have the
they shoot
context.
pretty good. They're pretty slappy, but
They
they're
shoot
mostly
pretty
I'm saying
good.
If you want to do like the party boat,
Okay.
then that's 500 points just for that, and then the Thunderers for blocks of 10 would be
Which one's the
280
party boat?
ironclad.
Okay. And then
Because it can fit all of them, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I'm being honest. So the which one's 500 points? The ironclad?
Yes.
Okay, so 20 health, 3-up save. That's pretty good. 20 health. Okay. And then this unit is armed with ether shot, carbines, torpedoes, boarding weapons, and one of the following options. So you can either have a sky cannon, skyhook, volley cannon. Oh, geez. Man, this is so complicated. Okay. Sky cannon is 24 inches, 2 attacks, force 2s, 2 rend, 3 plus D3 damage. Shoot. And then Skyhook is 2 attacks, 3s and 2s, 2 rend, D6 damage, anti-monster. Ooh, man. They're both they both seem good to me.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, there's a lot of good options. But my point that I'm trying to say is that the ironclad is 500 points. A block of 10 thunder is 280 points. It's just about 1350 points to have like a whole 30 thunders in the ironclad rolling around.
Jeez.
And that's not including any heroes whatsoever. So as soon as you add heroes, you're probably up to like 15 or like 1700 points realistically.
Right.
So like, what do you have room for after that? Right? Like maybe one more thing. So that's what I'm saying when it's like, this is the definition of all of the eggs in one basket. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more like frigate melee boats where you're going to be getting like strike first and with like this.
I think that makes more sense. And it's not like you still can't, like, because they take stuff with them too, right?
Yep.
So then you can still do the tech. That's kind of what I was talking about. Like if you have 3 frigates or whatever and some guys inside and a couple of heroes, then that seems better. How much are the frigates for points?
Frigate 320 points still.
Damn, that's pretty good. But like 15 wounds on a 3-up save, it's like cost wise.
If you have 3 frigates in your list,
yeah,
that's 960 points, right?
Yep. No, I know.
That's just on the boats, and those boats they don't actually do a lot. The shooting.
No, I see that.
It's pretty. Like,
okay, so fine. Maybe not 3, maybe like 2.
Yeah.
And then like some mini boats, but again, it's like they kind of want you to build a variety, right? With no ward save. No, for sure. But a 3-up save is so rare now that, like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot less access to save stacking and stuff than there was before. I don't know. I'm not calling any shots here, by the way. I'm just like, I'm actually just exposed to this for the first time. Like, you guys think like with like my 20 minutes that I had today, I went straight to KO? You're out of your goddamn mind. I was so busy today. And so, yeah, like I looked at IDK. I didn't even really look at Seraphon. I just didn't have time. So, yeah. I looked at Kharadron Lancers because they're my favorite unit in the book. But I couldn't even tell you whether Croak was a 3-caster or a 4-caster. So, wait, is the Slan still a 3-caster? I know I'm bouncing around quite a bit here, but I can't remember if the Slan is he 2 now? That's too bad.
I might be wrong about that. Sorry, well, I'll check.
Too bad. Yes. No one? Fine. Carson's shaking his head at me. This is a regular occurrence on this channel. I'm assuming he's near the top because he is... there he is. He is a Wizard 3. Okay, good. I think stocks are on Slan. I would be investing in a Slan for sure, which I love.
Considering one of the asterisms is tied to him, that makes sense.
Yes, And not just that. I mean, well, technically, I mean, like, more than Croak, because Croak is a slan, too. So I think you can still do it with him. But, like, but yeah, like, he's 9 wounds, you know. Oh, wait, but he flies. Can he be shot? Outside of 12 if he's next to units?
Good point.
I can't remember.
I'll check.
I was thinking he couldn't, but I can't remember if that includes the fly keyword or not. Anyway, I still think he's good because, you know, he has a 6-up ward now on his thing. And then obviously you're probably going to have at least 1 unit of Saurus Guard around him to increase it to 5-up. 5-up save now, though, that is a big deal. I don't know. Yeah, it's still 3 casts. Sorry, Nick, I would have seen that, but I'm living in the future. I appreciate it, though. Appreciate the effort. Your favorite model, the Deceiver.
That he flies.
Okay, that's good. So then, like, he's relatively safe, and he does all these things. He unbinds anywhere on the board. You know, yeah, he adds 1 to his casting rolls.
He just doesn't get cover or obscuring. Is the only thing.
Right.
So
like
if he's by himself, then yeah.
By the way, I really think they need to change that rule, like, at least in partial, because it's just so weird. Like, you've got these giant monsters that are like going to be way over terrain. Whatever. We've already talked about it. Yeah. Have we seen? So yeah. And Pat said your favorite model, the Deceiver, can make it like an anime swordmaster with like that. Yeah. His looks pretty cool. It is on a 4-up, you know, but sorry. But he finally has it up. Like, someone blessed the Deceiver. Someone's like, here you go, buddy. Here's enough poison for your blade. And now he doesn't just have it on his throwing star for some reason. He has it on his dagger, which is awesome. Have we seen the Deathmaster War Scroll? I can't remember, Thor. Thanks for joining us, by the way. I'm pointing over here because now I've got the chat over here instead of I used to have it over here. But yeah, I don't remember. I think we have. I think it's in the leaks. Obviously, it's not out officially because I'm pretty sure I think I remember he can help. He can move units outside of normal movement. So, Eshin's your favorite. So probably waiting for the book to drop since Gutter Runners are out until then. Yeah, they might be out forever. I don't know if you noticed, but like we lost the Plague Priest, and Eshin is my favorite clan as well. I love Scryer. I like Verminous a lot, and I love Mulder. But Eshin, like Ninja Rats, like I am the OG Splinter fan, you know? So, absolutely. Supposedly it gives run and shoot and charge to other Eshin, but we haven't seen it. Right. He definitely does. Or wait, don't other Eshin already do that? I think they already run and charge. I thought he was moving them outside of the movement phase. Cue anime music and camera focusing on the KO captain as his boat slides apart. Nani? Yeah. Absolutely. I hope so. That is the goal. Yeah, he does the whole ching and then you don't even know you're dead. What are you eating there?
Someone had I was handed by a specter in the meat dimension a little plate nicely presented of like roasted squash.
Oh, cool.
Quite good.
It looks like some kind of wildflower or something.
There's that in here too. Yeah.
Is there really?
Yep.
She put wildflower in your bowl with your... Wow. Look at you, fancy pants.
Oh,
ironic because you're not wearing any pants. The funny thing is you're not eating it.
The rest of the stream doesn't matter anymore.
To you. What's funny is for those that like, you'll never find this stream, but if you can go back and find the stream of Carson eating Miss Vicky's ketchup chips, you eat those so much more deliciously than these fancy wildflower infused squash. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I still haven't tried those, by the way.
They're really good. Maybe I'll bring some down to Tacoma.
You should. Are those only Canadian?
Miss Vegas is Canadian, yeah.
What? I didn't know that. It's
Yep.
crazy. Oh,
Yep.
can you remind me? There's something I'm hoping you might be able to grab for me when you're down there, if you have time. You probably will.
Okie dokie.
Thank you. I gotta remember. There is actually for those our Canadian friends going down. If you like, this is what I'm going to ask you, obviously, to grab. If you like Dijon mustard, Trader Joe's has the most delicious Dijon mustard I've ever tasted, and it's crazy cheap. It's like $2.99 a bottle. It's wild. Like, Dijon mustard is normally very expensive. Anyway, I'll stop talking about Dijon mustard. But seriously, try it. Carson, mukbang. Yeah. Actually, I was just talking about that last week. This is what a divergence. But there's like this famous Korean chick who does. I didn't know that she does mukbang, but she's like a world champion, like fast eater or whatever it's called, eating contest champion. And yeah, it's wild because she's like 100 pounds soaking wet, this tiny little thing. And she goes in and they make you put on this like, what is it? Like a hospital gown when you go in there to eat. Like, and they got this burger that's like stacked up yay high. It's wild. It's super awesome. Can't believe they left the ugly little monkey rats in. They didn't, Thor. They didn't. They are being discontinued. They are definitely going, but the reason, actually, I meant to bring this up too. So in a lot of the these faction packs, we're seeing the old models, and that's because they can't. If they showed us the new models on the cards and whatnot, then people would see them ahead of time. But those models are definitely going. It's already been announced and everything. All the models that are disappearing forever. Like how it's slowly. I'm pretty sure those wildflowers are poisonous, right? Okay. Cool. Just pops over. Like a Monty Python death. The Night Runners, yeah. They're definitely going. Like we're absolutely getting new models. I think that like Gutter Runners are probably like the unit is gone. Like they're getting rid of, like, we won't even have new ones ostensibly. But the Night Runners, I think that said, I thought they were talking about models. Do you have the list of the stuff that was canceled? Okay. What would I Google search, everyone? Tell me what to search. Actually, not everyone, because you guys are in the past. You're living in the past.
Yeah. It might be at the bottom in Legends.
Probably. Okay. No, but like what? Oh, I see. That's a good call. Okay, yeah, I'll try that.
First. Plague Priest, Gutter Runners, Plague Sensor Bearers, Skabbix, Plague Pack, Skittershanks, Claw Pack, and Spiked Claws Swarm.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure they also announced the models that were being discontinued way back when, right?
They did, but there's a chance that's because they have replacements.
Exactly.
I could see.
That's what we're trying to figure out, though.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, what do I Google? I should have just asked the chat after all. Tell me, Carson. Retiring models. No. Models. Age of Sigmar.
Got it.
I found it. April 4th, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. I will add it to the stream. Boop. And then we're scrolling. So engineers, there's another example. Rat ogres, right? Storm vermin. All these things, the models are going. Oh, wait. It does not say Night Runners, though. Oh, God. Are you right, Thor? Oh, man. Those things are so ugly.
And they have points under regular Scaven.
No, I know, but like a lot of the stuff that we know is going to be sticking around, right? Like Jezzails. Warplock Jezzails have points. And they don't technically have the new models yet, but they've been revealed. Storm Vermin have points. I guess when we get a book, everything doesn't matter. But, like, why are they getting rid of, like, Scryer Acolytes? We know those models are leaving. Oh, and Clan Rats are leaving, too. I'm confused. I don't know what is going on anymore.
Were Night Runners plastic?
Yeah. They're ancient. Why. No, but Night Runners aren't leaving, though. They're not on this list. That's what I don't get.
Saying, that's what you're wondering is why they're not being replaced, right?
Yeah, but like a lot of the stuff on here is plastic. Clan Rats are plastic. Rat Ogres are plastic. Warpfire... Oh, I can't remember. I don't remember Warpfire. Actually, the majority of the other stuff isn't. Oh, no. Oh, no. Gutter Runners are resin. Oh, no. That's crazy. That would be... I hope so. I cannot imagine Night Runners staying. They're so ugly. They're crazy ugly. Oh, man. There was a plastic... What the... Wait, WFT and LOB. There was a plastic Warpfire thrower in... in Island of Blood. I thought it was an L. Yes, there was. There was, but they don't count those models. Yeah, and same with the Rat Ogres, Warpstone. There was plastic Clan Rats in there. There's a plastic Engineer in there, too. But they don't count those ones. That's why they're showing the really ugly old metal model, the same one that I have all of the Engineers that you've ever been able to buy. But still, weapons teams are... Yeah, that's what... or they are metal. Okay. I don't. The only one I own from here is the Rattling Gun and the Warp Grinder. Oh, the Doomflayer is resin, actually. And I think the Warp Block Jezzails are resin as well right now, but I have them in metal. All the stuff here, by the way, that's in resin used to be metal, and they just took the cast and started pouring resin into it instead of whatever, white metal. I forget what they call it. It's not. I can't come up with it. Doesn't matter. I give up. That's crazy. Damn you, Thor. Now I gotta worry about this for the next 3 months until I find out what we're getting. Ugh. When are we gonna find out? When are we gonna find out what the new models are? Huh? When?
The new edition hasn't even come out yet. I'm like, what's next?
What is next? My time is nigh.
I haven't even seen my War Scrolls yet. What's next?
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like me. And it is me. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, though, right? Those models are so ugly. God dang.
Yeah, they don't look great.
No, they don't. The new Clan Rats look simply amazing. And I was just like, what were people talking about? We didn't need new Clan Rats. That's true. But aren't you glad we got them? And now I'm like, but if it means keeping those old Night Runners, I'm not sure I agree with myself anymore. I mean, yeah, hopefully, yeah, after the campaign. That's true. I was thinking about that earlier. Yeah, it starts on the 15th.
GW doing their own Dude Trust Me event, basically.
Yeah.
The whole community was doing Dude Trust Me's all the way up until 4th edition, and then GW is going to go Dude Trust Me for the Scaven and Stormcast launches. They're like, yeah, totally. This is what people voted on.
Yeah, I don't like. I actually believed it when they did it for Leviathan until I got the results, because I was like, there's no way. There was more points in Space Marines. They were a better faction. It's just a popularity vote. But whatever. Who's actually by the way, who's actually buying that box and then taking out the stuff in there? And I don't know. Maybe some people are. I think, people have said this in the past. I think we've said it in the past. But the Skaven Tide box is meant for people who already play, right? So, I don't think most of us are, for that reason, But there's a there's a girl who goes to my son's fencing school, and they play Age of Sigmar, her and her dad. And they totally did that with the AOS 2 launch box. Like, he plays Nighthaunt, she plays Stormcast. You know what I mean? They took it out, and that's what they did. So, you know, like, there's definitely like an audience for that kind of thing as well. Though I feel like most of the time they're not super well balanced, so it's probably, and that balance usually goes towards Space Marines or Stormcast likely, but but we'll see. Whatever. All that matters is I'm getting new toys. I'm getting new dollies.
New toys good. Old toys bad.
Keith says Mortark of no, I don't want to wait. Isn't that really hype though? That's just the hype overflowing. I'm a fountain unto ye.
It's your villain arc.
You know? I never left my villain arc. Even the good guys I play are like Seraphon and IDK. They're kind of evil, in a fashion. Yeah, more Stormcast and Rats. All the Xenos players were voting in favor of NIDS. I think you're not wrong. Although, like, you did need the code, Alex, from Leviathan. Like, you need a little piece of paper like you do from Scaven Tide. But I think it's just, like... Also, like, you know what's the first time ever? And I don't know about Scaven Tide. I've noticed it being pretty even, if I'm being honest. And I didn't expect this. But with the Tyranids box, I saw... And this is super circumstantial, by the way. But I saw all these Tyranids players going, like... Does anyone want Space Marines? Like, can I give you my Space Marines? Which is the first time this has ever happened, by the way. Because, like there were people legitimately on the Facebook group saying, like, if you're paying, like, more... If you're paying half for splitting the ninth edition launch box with Necrons, then you're paying too much. And it's like, okay, calm down. Like, there's more plastic in there for Necrons. And I feel the same way about the Skaven thing. But, like, I don't know. Like, I've definitely noticed that they're, like, locally, there's still a lot of Skaven players looking to get rid of the Stormcast half. But that's so circumstantial, it doesn't mean anything at all. You know what I mean? Like, so. I'm curious. But we're noticing, like, more and more people every day on the Scaven page that I help manage with Shu from Rerolling Ones. Just, like, swarms of people entering. Which is kind of a pain because...
Fitting.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But, like, man, like, I did it to help out, and I noticed that, like, so many people, like, there's a lot of people that join to, like, spam and, like, do advertisements and stuff like that. So we have, like, questions now that I made up where it's like, you know, why do you want to join this group? And then it says, like, we're looking for more than just I like them. Like, it needs to be just something that shows that you're actually interested to know something, anything at all about Skaven or Warhammer. You know what I mean? And then, like, most of the time it's like, yeah, AOS 4 is coming out or something along those lines. But then sometimes it says, yeah, or I like it or whatever. And I'm like, I just told you not to say that. Like, you're not even reading at this point. Anyway, yeah. But those things take away from the group, right? You did not... if you were in store. I know because I had a game and they... Wait, what? What are you on about, Rob? The battle for Skull Pass Goblins were totally able to win against the Dwarfs. Those are not Stormcast and those are not Space Marines. Ha-ha! Lawyered. For Leviathan? I think Alex is talking about Leviathan. But as usual, he's on the crack. Snowflakes are shelving their Skaven because they are popular now. That's interesting. And you know what's funny, too, is I see that attitude a lot. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to be the only Skaven player, even though they're, like, super popular, right? And then you got me. And, like, I do kind of know, like, when I first got back into Skaven, I don't like to play things that are too popular, but, like, you like what you like, right? And so, but weirdly, like, whenever someone's like, I think I might get into Skaven. I'm like, yes, join us, my friend. Together we will rule the world. You know, like you were talking about it, and I'm like, yes. And I started like planning out your purchases. Do you remember that? I was just like you can't get the Nahul's here, but if you go here, you can get them right now, and you better do it pretty quick. And like, what can I do to make this happen for you? And yeah, so all are welcome in the Under Empire. Skaven need to, you know, be the most prevalent. We need to take over the world. There needs to be more of us than anything else, just like in the lore. That's my plan.
Yeah. Rob wants more Skaven players so that he can stab them in the back to rise to power.
Yeah.
And I want more Ogres players because that's more people to get soup for the party.
All yeah. Right?
It's just how it works. Okay? This whole channel is Ogre players and Skaven players. And we get along a little bit because the Skaven players just eat the leftovers of the Ogre players. But you know what?
Yeah. And you eat the rats, and we don't care.
Yeah, exactly, because they were in your way.
They were in my way, and they were incompetent, and they betrayed me for the last time.
time.
I think they got themselves killed on purpose just to keep me from rising further up, as is my rightful place in the eyes of the great horned rat.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair. How's it going, Brayden? Good to see you in the chat. Overall, things are... What's up?
Sorry. Oh, Sarah Cruz says, how long until you turn Carson into one of your rat ogres?
Not long.
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
I've got a Skaven Tide box coming, so not long.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
No, things are going pretty good. I think I you know, that it's going to be really tough to tell for a lot of the armies whether the points are appropriate until we get like all of the faction packs. And even then, I think that we're going to have a pretty like different expectation of what is good and what isn't good, both before and after the next major tournaments that are coming up. Unfortunately, we've got two huge tournaments that are happening like a week after Skaven Tide releases. Number one is the US Open Tacoma, and number two is the Lone Star GT by FLG, I believe, is on the same weekend as that.
Right.
So it's like there's two huge events that are happening. We're gonna know by the end of it like what is and isn't a problem, I think.
We hope to know.
We do hope to know, yeah. Like, I'm going to be playing 8 games in Tacoma. Like, if I don't have a good idea of what my scaries are by the end of that, then I haven't been paying attention.
Or you just didn't run into the right things, too.
Yeah. Or maybe I'll be the scary. Who knows?
I think you likely will be.
Unlikely, but you never know.
You'll at least be a scary. I'm not saying you're going to win the whole thing necessarily, but...
I think Ogres are in a good spot. Ogres are just like pure, efficient bodies. They're relatively simple, which allows me to focus on the rest of the game.
Right.
And the other armies and stuff like that. So that's an advantage, I would say. But
kind of what attracted to you in the first place, too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Person should bring 48 gluttons. I only have 15 painted. So I'm trying to get 20 more Noblars painted for next week and a Burning Head.
How do you have 15 gluttons painted?
Because I had like 2 actual full units, and I built them as if they were like a unit of 12.
Okay.
And then I got like 3 more like spare bodies essentially, just to make another command squad to be able to run 2 units of 6.
I see.
Maybe I have 14. No, it would have to be 15, because it would be like a full unit, which has like the
which is 6 each, right?
6 each, yeah, but it would be the Bellower, the Champion, and the Banner Bearer, and then 9 other guys.
Oh, I see.
And then I was like, I want to run 2 units of 6, but I need the command squad for both. So I got like 3 spare bodies, and then made another Champion, another Bellower, and another Banner guy.
Got it. Wow. Alex offered you 18, but apparently you won't accept them.
I don't really want to go to a GT, at least the first GT, with something that I haven't painted myself, because I'm a special little snowflake and I like having multiple potential prizes like in the running. I'm like, ooh.
After just explaining how you're not a special little snowflake, turns out.
Well, like, I don't know. I'm the kid.
It's a different way. I'm joking, obviously, but yeah.
It's nice to feel like if you didn't win the whole tournament, you could win something else, right? Like maybe if I do really well, and then I could potentially do best overall, or maybe I can, go for painted or something like that, or who knows, right? I just like it. It's nice.
I don't know.
I
And
also
I'm
like
weirdly
showing
not
up to an event like with the full, like I really put my all into painting this army.
Yeah, no,
Um,
exactly.
I just like it.
That makes sense to me. Also, I think like I don't know. I'm not like some people like and are totally into borrowing models. There's nothing wrong with that, and or lending or whatever. But I'm just the kind of person who I just don't tend to. I think the only model that I can remember, and I'm sorry if I forgot anyone, but the only models I can ever remember borrowing were Eric's. What are they called? Untamed Beasts or whatever that I could potentially ally into my Once Upon a Time Siege army, and I never even used them once. They just sat in my house for a while, and he might have even forgot them. I can't remember exactly what happened, but yeah, I'm just not really into it, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it's totally fine if someone wants to borrow armies, and I think
Sorry.
that that's going to be a case.
Yeah.
Like when I go to U.S. Masters, there's probably a decent chance that I do have to borrow models, right?
Wow. Why?
I would. Well, I doubt that what the team needs me to play is going to be exactly what I have painted,
Oh, I
right?
see.
So
I thought you were talking about WCW.
no. U.S. Masters, like the teams tournament that's happening in North America.
Oh, okay. When is
Yeah,
that again?
October, early October.
But why wouldn't they? Why would they need you to change your list? Just so it better counters other things.
Teams is a much different format than singles is,
For
where
sure.
like
Yeah.
I just simply might not have what the team needs painted.
I
That's
see.
the thing, right?
Interesting.
The team might need me to be playing like a super aggro list that actually does have 42 gluttons or something like that, and I do not intend to paint 42 gluttons. Like
Yeah, that's fair.
it's
Wow.
yeah.
42? Can you really run 42?
What is that? 42 divided by 6 is 7 units of gluttons. 7 units of gluttons times 220 is only 1,540 points. So you could comfortably run 42. You could probably run 48 if you wanted
That's
to.
insane.
Or no. Regiments would probably say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
need at least 2 heroes in there.
if
Right?
you did, yeah, you could run
Jeez.
what is it?
Whew.
You could run 42 gluttons, a butcher, a slaughtermaster, and still have 190 points spare.
So you could fit in a stupid tyrant if you want.
Yay!
Yay. Good news,
Yeah, you
everyone.
could fit in a tyrant. Or probably just another butcher, to be honest, or another slaughtermaster.
Yeah, that's where the
Then
juice
you'd be
is.
50 points under, and then you get your CP on turn 1.
God dang, that's crazy. Alex is surprised I didn't borrow his Varangard. To be honest, what I would have probably rather have borrowed from either Carson or Eric, if I was into borrowing models again, is the Ogroid, because Siege doesn't have any like good melee threats, in especially or in AOS 3 they didn't. I don't know about now. Chat's going too fast for me. Oh, by the way, that Alex's other comment about you shaming his paint jobs reminded me. Obviously, you're not shaming his paint jobs. This guy here, he really is a special little snowflake, and how you know is because I offered to prime and zenithal and like do like a basic coating using my airbrush to save you time to get stuff painted, and he's like, no, I gotta paint them exactly how I is that snowflake or is that just OCD? I just
Might be OCD.
it might be
I recognize
OCD.
that. I recognize there's more efficient ways to paint, but it's like I know in my head that it would come out slightly different than what the rest of the army looks like, and I'm like, nope, I have to follow the exact same steps for everything in the army because they have to be cohesive. And that just resulted in it being super slow, unfortunately. So I'm gonna hopefully try and start an army, like maybe Scaven is gonna be my slap chop army or whatever,
Nice.
where I just like speed paint them as fast as I can, and just kind of be done with it. But
Skaven are pretty good for that. You can, they just you can just add more Nuln oil and then they're just they look dirty and that's fine.
yeah. I think ogres are like probably my middle army where it's like I put a lot of effort into painting them, but I still like crank them up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then Slaves to Darkness is like my true hobby passion army, where like it just takes me a million years to paint anything in that army. And then I
Yep.
just need to find an army that's below ogres, where it's just like I'm just speed painting everything, and this army is purely for just bringing to tournaments, kind of.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. And like I forget who talked about this recently. I've been watching a lot of different little painting videos and stuff like that. I've been getting kind of into Ninjon lately. I really like some of the stuff he does. But there's some like smaller channels too that I've never heard of that are popping up, and a lot of them do some really neat stuff. But yeah, like painting very quickly and whatnot. But they were talking about on one of the channels. I had on in the background. They were talking about how you can do everything quick and then just focus on a few key things. Like a lot of the time it's faces and weapons and things like that. And they look really good for very minimal effort, Yeah. I'm sure they'll still look really good. The man likes what he likes. It's true. Where did... You responded to Brayden. Oh,
Brayden?
It's up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know why you didn't say it out loud. He doesn't take compliments very well.
No. I'm sorry.
But I can say it.
Brayden. You're really nice guy.
Yeah. Yep. Brayden's a champion of the people. My experience with Carson is he wins every tournament he goes to, just basing it off my personal experience. So,
considering I've been to one tournament with him, and won that one, yeah,
yeah,
can't argue with it.
Oh man,
it's just math.
That's true. Yeah, he's 100% win rate in his experience, or you're 100% win rate in his experience.
Maybe I should just never go back to Winnipeg, because like I'm undefeated in Winnipeg. Period. That's just a city that has not ever defeated me.
I thought of a really good slam for Winnipeg, but they were so nice to you guys. I can't do it.
Okay.
I can't do it.
Well, you have to
even
say
though
it now.
Even though. Okay, just as a I love Winnipeg, right? I'm super glad you got the Jets back. Okay, just get this out of the way, right? And it was purely just because you said it, and the people that we had on before. The Bison were also doing the same thing, but when you said, I feel like I'm just never going to go back to Winnipeg, I was going to say, I think a lot of people say that. I'm sorry, Winnipeg, I still love you, okay? I know I took away from a lot of that just by like having all this like boilerplate like preamble. I'm sorry. I couldn't not though. Everyone from Winnipeg really is pretty nice. Well, maybe not everyone, obviously, but like I don't know. They have this reputation. It seems like of a very friendly place, and it seems pretty well founded. Yeah.
I mean, I think that if you're going to have a city kind of in the middle, literally in the middle of nowhere,
God dang. Then, I thought I went in hard.
then I feel like that's what you have about your city that's endearing, right? It's like the community and the people. So. It's not that surprising to me. You kind of have to, because if you had a town in the middle of nowhere and everyone just sucked, like.
I think our Sigmar subscriber number is going down in real time here, Carson.
But if that was the case, then like no one would ever go there, and it would just be like a net negative growth, right?
It's not always true, and I'm not going to throw any particular city under the bus, right? But I've been to towns in BC that are quite small, and people, as a general rule, I agree with you. They are quite friendly. But I've been to other towns that are even smaller in BC, so it's my own province here, and I won't say where they are. There's no way we have even a single fan here. But and my God, are they unfriendly? Like I think I've told you in the past, but we went in to have a shower at one of the hotels, and the woman there was like, "Why did you come here?" She literally was just like incredulous that we came to their town, And I was just like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was, like, it felt like some kind of weird threat at first. But yeah, she was just like, this place is awful. Why would anyone come here? And I was just like, Jesus, it's not going to get any better with that attitude. Yeah. The actual, like, the face of, like, tourism for the entire place, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Just imagine a tourism website that the tagline is, you made a big mistake.
Yeah. Turn around.
Go back to where you came from.
Let's see those taillights. But then what's funny too is like in that exact same town, we had an amazingly remarkable, nice experience with someone who helped us out of a jam. So you never know.
Yeah. As Alex says, isn't Winnipeg the place where the high-flying city girl goes at Christmas and finds a charming lumber hunk and meet cutes in love with him, abandoning her abusive, money-obsessed fiance? I think that's right.
What are you guys talking about? Is this some kind of like?
I think he's talking about the. Well, actually, I think Winnipeg is too big of a city for that. Actually, he's talking about like the Hallmark, or like those rom-coms that just get crapped out every year. Where it's just like some like super successful woman goes to a small town and falls in love with a very charming, like homely man that tells her the meaning of Christmas, or that it's not all about business, and they're usually like a publicist or writer or something, and from New York, and they're like, I'm gonna go down to exactly. That's
I like rom-coms to be honest, but I don't generally watch a lot of English ones.
Sorry, it's like, I guess it is. It's just not funny.
It's a rom-com without the com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hallmark movie, yeah.
I mean, to be honest,
you.
Hey, that's pretty good. I would doff my cap if I were wearing one. I don't know, like that sounds like a made-for-TV Hallmark movie or something like that. But I haven't had cable for so long. What's that?
Comes home and gives up veganism to love meat again. That's my Hallmark movie.
That I would watch.
These Beyond Meat burgers that you made for us are so delicious. They're not Beyond Meat. Actual beef.
I killed the cows myself.
Remember those cute cows you were petting in the yard? They're dead now.
They're so dead. Also, they had mad cow's disease, so good luck with that. Oh man,
it's our meat cute. Oh,
that's amazing. The chat is on fire tonight. Trashy Christmas films. That, you know what? Like my brother and I, every time we hang out, we try to watch at least one like bad movie, a la Best of the Worst from Red Letter Media, and we try not to watch the ones that they've shown because we kind of already know the dumb funny parts, but sometimes it's kind of unavoidable. And one of them we actually watched before it was on there. I don't remember what it was, but it was one of the better ones. We watched Shakma. It was not good. Like it wasn't even funny. You know what I mean? Like we'd seen it on Red Letter Media. That's the one about like the killer baboon. Anyway, it was on Amazon Prime. We're like, oh, sick! It's on Amazon Prime. We should just totally watch. It was not good. Avoid it. It's just boring. That's the downside to those kinds of movies. Is most of the time they're just boring. They're just not well made and boring.
A lot of these Christmas movies that are like trashy and like get released every year have tons of sequels too. Okay, I remember there was, what is that one, The Christmas Prince? I know that my partner has watched that one a couple.
I have no idea.
I think there's like 5 of them now. Got his own cinematic universe.
The Christmas Prince cinematic universe. But the funny thing is, like, I really do enjoy watching, like, I enjoy watching good romantic comedies, but I mostly watch Korean ones, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Vanessa, Alex knows what you're talking about. He just named the actress. What is going on here? In a world where veganism is rampant, one man stands alone to help the world maintain its meat consumption. Explosion noises. This summer, Carson man yells, "No! Beyond Meat, rated M for meat." I just added the for meat at the end there, by the way. Yeah. I couldn't not.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. We need to write this and make it into like a little animation.
Do we know anyone that can actually do that?
Get on it! I can write it. I can't animate. Oh, man.
Yeah, we'll be the idea guys. If someone out there just wants to put in all the effort,
all the real work,
we can benefit from it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. It's the Netflix Christmas universe. They're all linked. Like the Prince one has the wooden ornaments from the calendar one. That's crazy. It sounds like, what is that? There's like a really famous like Netflix type streaming service for horror movies. I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't matter, I guess. I'll even do the trailer guy voiceover. I thought I was the... Oh, actually, I forgot you're living in the past. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Pat's a subscriber. You do the voiceover. I'm cool with that.
He can do whatever he wants.
I
think subscribing to the channel just gives you legal right to just walk into
legal.
our home.
Yeah. Yeah, you can poison Carson, for instance. He likes it.
Couple wildflowers. Easy.
Exactly. Oh.
Put some lemon on it. Call it squash. I'll eat it. Why not?
He just did. I'm sure there's some reality out there in the multiverse where Carson's tombstone will just say meat.
I'm very surprised that for all the times I've been through like TSA with that case that just says meat on it, that no one has stopped me. I've had a couple they got pulled to the side because I think they have like magnets in them and stuff. But
oh, fair enough. But it also has like other stuff on there too, that is like
it has
like
a grill.
Grilling. Yeah. I mean, oh man,
it's not helping my case. I think just marinating meat in a box.
Yeah, but if you're going down, if you're going down to the States though, they get like grill culture down there. They get like real people who are really into just
pass through the X-ray, and they're just like, I like what you're at. I don't know how to speak English anymore. I don't like what you're doing, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh man, sounds amazing. Legal. Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. I don't know why I'm sitting on the Kharadron page here. Do we have any other thoughts, Carbson?
Sons of Behemoth can run 4 bigs, including King Broad, which is kind of interesting.
That's really cool. I'm glad to hear it. Because I mean, if you like them, then that's totally cool. But I don't like the little guys very much.
All right. Thank you, Keith. That's very kind of you. And Braden got it.
Yo!
Very deserving.
What? Keith
Everyone is
gifted.
just deciding to gift subs and resubs.
You guys are being
again.
so nice. Thank you so much. It really, I know everyone's used to hearing it, but it really actually means a lot. Like, it really does. Like, we really appreciate it. Thank you again, Keith. And I'm glad, I'm glad Braden got it. And not to say that I'm not glad that Alex got it, by the way. I'm more glad that Braden got it, if I'm being honest. But, yeah, that was really kind. Okay, sorry. What was I looking? Oh, yeah, it was for, what are they called? Sons of Behemoth. The shortest one. Not to be confused with dwarfs. So, Beast Smasher Mega Gargant, 470. So the only thing... Oh, okay, so I see. Kragnos is 680. But other than that, King Broad. So if you take King Broad, you could still take 2 Gatebreakers, which are the next most expensive giant. And then you just have to take either a Beast Smasher, a Kraken Eater, or a War Stomper. That's pretty sick.
So there's a couple notes there because they have the Eager Lout thing.
Okay. What does that
basically
mean?
What it means is that so they're all heroes is the thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which means that you can only take 1 big in another big's regiment.
Oh, got it. Right.
Yeah.
So you'd have to have 2 regiments.
Yeah.
I just meant for points, though. It works out quite well.
Yeah.
And now we don't really need to worry about like the whole battle line thing. Like, there doesn't need to be any kind of
I could still see. There's a. We're really gonna have to see like where things kind of end up.
Okay.
I could see 4 bigs still not being optimal.
Oh, I can see that being non-optimal. I'm just saying I don't like to run the little runts. I don't think that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. because like I think you're still gonna need like the little ones for battle tactics and stuff like that.
The little ones.
Well, little
Is their army built around that, or we just don't know yet?
is there already built around that? What do you mean? Sorry.
Like, is it like do you need like how badly do you need them for battle tactics? Like,
So the battle tactics right now, a lot of them are about like taking objectives back, killing specific units, which you should be able to do, and then a lot of them are like kind of positional. So like if you think about take the flanks or seize the center.
oh, you mean the general ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I see.
They're also not super conducive to doing the destruction ones. At the very least, they're not really great at doing the three, like the charge with 3-1.
I see.
Probably not charging in 3 Gargants in 1 turn, right? That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I was just Alex said next week Rob loads into the channel with a Rolex. Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. The main I don't know how much you know about how much YouTube takes, but the main reason that we actually, and I don't know, I've probably said this in the past. The main reason that like the gift subs and that stuff helps us so much is because it actually helps the algorithm. But we are like the money that we get from the channel. It is going towards like the main thing we're saving for right now. The 3 of us is a streaming computer. We think it could actually significantly improve the quality of the experience when you're watching the battle reports.
Yeah, as soon as we have a stream PC, we can start working on like better transitions, like better preset scenes.
More cameras. It's like
more
way
cameras.
more feasible. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing too is that it's not even just like making it better, but it's also insurance. Because one thing that we haven't told anybody is that
I think we have. I actually think we said this at one point.
Okay, but, our entire setup is reliant on like an 8-year-old laptop that's hooked up to an AT10 Mini. And if that thing breaks,
I think his is 7 years old.
Oh no!
Or 6 years old, and mine is 8 years old. We were originally using mine, and that's why you were getting a stutter. And then his was like slightly newer, so slightly more capable. And so we're not getting a stutter anymore, but we're maxed out on it. And yeah, if it breaks down, we go back to mine, and then we go back to stutter basically, and it's not good.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, that's definitely what we're saving up for now. All of these gifted subs help so much, like achieve that, and
yeah,
we really appreciate it.
We really do. Yeah. I would never buy a Rolex anyway. Ha! Joke's on you, Alex.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that Sons of Behemoth is going to be...
Sorry.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there. There's going to be some battle plans that'll be better or worse on, because like some of the objectives are really far spread apart, and I don't think that these Gargants want to be super far apart.
Right.
They still move 10 inches, but it's like, let's say you're on Border War or something, or like, maybe not, that's not a good example. But if you're on one that like you have to be all over the board, like holding two... I remember there's one where you have to like hold both sides of the board in either way. Like you probably don't want to be spread out that much. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I purchased. Oh my god! Thank you.
Oh,
that's very
is that what that was? I heard like a sound. Thank you so much.
I could have probably just brought them to you in person. I guess LVO the next time I probably would see you. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you want to do that, or yeah, I don't know. Let me know.
That's a while.
we can sort this out in the future. By the way, earlier when I was just like, I'm never going to roll up with a Rolex. Too many Scaven miniatures, though. I could definitely see myself making some bad decisions in that department. Yes, I will add 4 more Scaven tied boxes. Money's no object. I have 2 gift subs to spend money from. You know? Yeah. I mean, actually, I still wouldn't do that. I'd still just what I want more of from that box set is Rat Ogres and Jezzail, I think. I definitely want more Jezzail than I'm going to be getting. I'm splitting a box, like I'm basically buying one box, and then I'm giving the Stormcast to a friend, and I'm getting the Skaven miniatures. So, yeah, I think I might want more Jezzail. And maybe more Rat Ogres. Oh, you're not going to make it to LVO. Yeah, too expensive? I don't blame you, man. I mean, it's like just everything's so expensive now. But anyway, well, I'll get those dice sent out. Lickety split. I should have them sent out by tomorrow, actually. So, yeah, Adepticon. I think it'd be cool though if you guys, I mean, like it's not my thing, but it's just like, yeah, you guys should just go to Adepticon instead of LVO. Like, I'll just make this decision for you. But yeah,
Adepticon is in Milwaukee now, I think, and I don't think there's
really?
even like direct flights to. Or I know it's Wisconsin. The city moved.
Wow. Well, because
yeah.
it used to be in Illinois.
Chicago or.
It's near Chicago. It wasn't actually in Chicago, but
Gotcha.
but they moved the whole thing to Wisconsin. Hey, I wonder if it's just like cheaper.
Yeah, that was my understanding. Maybe I'm just wrong.
Huh?
But
apparently,
where Adepticon was. Let's see. Adepticon 2025. I swear they said that they changed their location.
Huh? Hopefully, Asri doesn't go to the wrong city, though, right?
Yeah, it's going. It's going to Milwaukee instead.
What?
Yeah,
that's crazy. I want to go to Milwaukee, but like, it's not like I'm going to get to meet the Red Letter Media guys, so I don't know why.
Yeah, they're not going to be just like walking around.
They might be. They are in my fantasy, Carson.
I mean, actually, I could see like maybe Rich Evans going to, because it's not just Warhammer; it's like a whole event, right? So
yeah. I mean, I watched Rich Evans and Jack. They were playing through the original Space Marine game. Yeah, they used to have a channel for video games and stuff. It's about 60 miles from the previous venue. Wait, what?
I don't know American geography well enough. Let's see.
It's like 100 kilometers. Like an hour away? It's basically a suburb of... Wow. I mean, we're thinking about it in Canadian context, don't forget. We're like...
Oh, they are actually really close to each other.
Are they? Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. So you could still... Okay.
Fly to either. YVR to...
Fly into Chicago, and me, MKE, and I will pick you guys up. Who's McE?
It also depends when Adepticon actually is, because it might... I think this year it actually was the same weekend, or at least very similar to Wet Coast. And that would be like a hard no for me, just because I'm TOing at the same time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I'll definitely look into it. We'll have to see like how things are looking.
Adepticon used to be the biggest tournament in the world for a lot of different things, so it still must be very big. I don't know if it's, or maybe it still is. I don't know. Milwaukee has an international airport. That makes sense.
It's less about the destination airport being international and more about if Vancouver actually
that's
goes
true.
there.
That's true. Although, like, if you have, like, the bigger the hub, though, the cheaper flights are. So, like, Chicago is often very cheap flights because it's such a huge hub. Atlanta, too. But that's true.
There's very few direct flights from Vancouver to Atlanta. There was, like, one
really?
per day or something.
It's, like, one of the biggest, like, international hubs of
airports. I had to connect
airports.
through DFW when I went last year.
Is that Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Dallas, Fort Worth. Got it, yeah. Golden Demons are at Adepticon. Ooh. That's true. But the real thing is team doubles. 4 players, change partners every round? That sounds super cool. That actually sounds like fun. Oh, man. I would be super into that. It's a much shorter distance when you're flying on Freedom Eagles' backs. That's why it seems closer for Americans. Well, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Is that like the Eagles from Lord of the Rings? Are they Freedom Eagles? And then you're like, why didn't you just fly the ring into Mordor? And they're like, we couldn't. He would have seen us and sent all the forces against us.
Also, looking at it, there are direct flights from YVR to Milwaukee. However, It starts at $700 for a round trip.
Wow.
Which is a decent amount.
That is a good amount. By the way, Pat said it's March 26th to 30th. I don't know when Wet Coast is.
That's exactly when Wet Coast was last year. Or this year.
Oh, dang.
Easter long weekend is when it was.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah. Maybe next time.
I mean, we don't know when Wet Coast is. I'm not actually the one that schedules Wet Coast. I'm just TO the AOS
Oh, it's
portion.
it's literally always that weekend.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Dan does it for a very specific reason, so.
Gotcha. Well.
So, I guess that kind of makes sense why it's harder for you guys to get there, but yeah. There is that there's a few of those kinds of events out there though. But yeah. Where are we? This is, what am I looking at here? Oh, this is just the general rules. I don't know why I got these out, because we kind of already saw them before. But did you get a chance to look at the other any of the other Order armies, like Stormcast, Cities, Kharadron Fireslayers, Lumineth, Daughters, Sylvaneth? Any of that stuff?
Lumineth is looking like it's going to be pretty good. I
Not
think
shocking.
if you, Dawn Riders are, so they really got to glow up, I think. So they're 210 points now for 5,
Okay.
which is more than they used to be. However, they went to a 3-up save instead of a 4-up save. They went to 3 wounds instead of 2 wounds.
Whoa,
So
they did.
They're
There's
way
5 of them.
tougher.
Whoa. Wow,
And they
wow,
also
wee,
got
wow.
their Impact Mortals ability, and they actually slap on the charge now.
And they have Crit Mortal
Yep.
on their spears.
Yep. So that's I think a lot of people are going to be running a decent amount of Dawn Riders. Venari in general is just really good with -1 to hit if you have the aspect or whatever I can't remember what it's called for Lumineth.
Which one are Venari?
Venari is like the battle formation or whatever.
Oh, the subfaction essentially.
Yeah, or no, it's
I see.
it's the battle trait.
Oops, I should probably zoom this out a
What
bit.
is it called again?
Oh, it's just one of their. Oh, it's like part of their battle traits where it's like you pick one of these things.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it, like the Seraphon. Gotcha. Oh my goodness. Someone else. I think someone else bought some dice. Was that someone that I know? You all are still alive? Hi from Vacation Monkey. Welcome, Vacation Monkey. We are still live. We are normally still live at this point, which does remind me about something. Similar but more free. Rob, you got asked a merch question by Pat. I'm so sorry. I missed him. I must have missed it.
He was asking how they roll the Hansel the Dice roll. Dice.
They
Hansel
roll
the Rat Dice. Sorry.
Hansel the Rat Dice roll. They roll sometimes too well.
Pretty average.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's
none
the
of them are.
Kraken dice that are
Kraken
spiky.
dice are the ones that are like, yeah, they can be pretty good. The rat dice, like sometimes they roll, like sometimes they do roll hot, and like I've noticed that like often that seems like when I roll my power roll for my warp lightning cannon, but that's no longer a thing, so that's less to worry about, you know? Yeah. I think he did. You did. Thank you so much, Pat. I heard the sound. It. You gave me a peer review, and I trust Rob. Yeah. Keith got them a while back. Yeah. We appreciate you, man. That is really that's really kind. You know, those rat dice have a very special place in my heart. So, yeah. I hope you find them well. Your slan dice roll hot. I've noticed that too. They like unless and actually and Carson rolls those meat dice. Like none of them roll poorly, to be honest. Actually, that was kind of like because you know how we're all so super superstitious about our dice, right? And so my whole thing before was like I bought a long time ago, way before I started the channel, I bought these dice and I just found this Kraken design online, and I just got them made up from Chessex, right? But the Chessex ones, the engraving is so tiny, like it doesn't go in very deep. And I found that they rolled really poorly. Now I know it's mostly superstition, right? But I was like, but they're so thin. So like technically, like the weight, and you know what I mean? Like that whole went through my head. And so I was just like, when I get dice made up, they have to have a nice deep. They have to like be at least as deep as GW's, Otherwise, it feels like whatever. So, yeah, that's my spiel. I've seen Carson roll dice. I want some of that action. I want my Iron Blaster to connect with both shots, or for Kragnos to connect with all 6 shots. Yeah, nothing. The only thing that feels better than Kragnos connecting with all 6 of his mace shots is rolling really well on his charge ability.
I remember the first time I brought out Kragnos in like a mock 4.0 game, he charged into Be'lakor with 666, so 18-inch charge.
Okay.
And then he gets into him and rolls double 6s and just like destroys him off the table. And I'm like, oh, that was just TTS dice though. Like Tabletop Simulator is renowned for being like super swingy one way or the other, and that one was just rolling all 6s. I guess it was nuts.
That's crazy. I think someone else just ordered more dice. I hope I'm not missing more questions in the chat. Jeez, guys, thank you so much. Okay, it doesn't appear like
I'm not superstitious about my dice. They roll average, but people think they roll hot because I never complain about my shitty rolls. Yeah, that's a thing too. Like
it really is. Eric talks about that as well.
Yeah. Where if you just don't acknowledge your poor dice, it can seem like you're rolling better than you are.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously biased because I'm me, but I feel like I don't actually roll like that amazingly. I've always said it where it's just like, if I'm rolling 5 charges, one of them is probably going to be like an 11, right?
Right.
And previous ogres, that matter a lot more. If it was like a spike charge and I'm only 3 inches away.
Yeah.
But still, I've had my fair share of luck, 100%. But I've also been unlucky too, and it happens.
That's fair. Exactly. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. It's true. That's how I feel. I think also there's, I don't know, like we're all a little stitious, as Pat said. And so, it was you, Jim. Thank you so much for ordering the dice, man. I really appreciate that. That's really kind. But what I was going to say before I forget is, like, Eric and I talked about this before too, where if you don't talk about your bad dice and talk about your good dice, there's just some kind of magic in that, I swear. Where you're just like, you can kind of will it into existence. Like, we have a friend, and I've said this before, but our buddy Ryan, who seems to roll amazing, and he never talks about his bad dice. He literally never does. And he seems to roll so well that like people think his dice are loaded, and then he switches dice with them, rolls their dice that they were rolling poorly, continues to roll amazing, and then they roll his dice and they roll just like they were. So there's something there, man. I don't know. I don't believe in the secret, but there's, you know what I mean? There's something there. There's a vibration. Watching the Danish team at Worlds just roll the closest dice at hand, usually their opponents. It was oddly wild. Yeah, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like, post-COVID, I'm just kind of like, don't touch my stuff, man. Like, at a conference.
I totally understand.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, I kind of get it. Like, if, let's say
no,
your
I
opponent
think it's
makes
cool.
like a super hot, like, attack roll or something like that, or like they get a whole bunch of wounds through, and then it's very easy to say, like, do you mind if I just roll these instead of counting out my own dice? I think that's a reasonable thing to do. A, to just basically say, like, we're using the same dice sometimes, but also B, it does save time. So
it does. Yeah. I think like, I mean, here's a piece of advice that no one asked for. If you're gonna roll other people's dice, you should definitely ask them before you just pick up their things, because I've noticed that I'm actually weirdly less of a germaphobe than I was before, but that's like a whole other thing. But I've noticed that there's a lot more people who are germaphobes now post COVID, and I always say like, hey, I was a germaphobe before it was cool, but like, you get what I'm saying. I think like their opponent would roll priority, then the Dane would pick up the exact same dice that they just rolled for their priority. Their attitude was, this was the dice. Wait. Their attitude was, this was the dice, never matter. We always use the same. Huh. That's interesting. So they're picking up, but when they're, you said the Danish person, so like, I guess they're using like their opponent's dice that's not from Denmark, right? Yeah, that's pretty wild. The Danes have made a deal with Be'lakor or something. I've never seen people who so casually crush their opponents with dice. I submit for Rob's approval. Can I use Scabrick's rat for the warp stone as a stand-in for Hunzo? Absolutely you can. Absolutely you can.
Yeah.
I think I might do that myself. That's actually a fantastic idea.
It is a good idea.
I named him Hanzo. Like I changed his name, like in my own little headcanon. I don't know why I didn't think about just like using him as like a token or something like that. When I'm marking stuff down. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
no, it's okay. At WCW last year, I remember like my mustache dice were just failing me. I feel like, and then in a lot of ways, and I was just like constantly switching dice or like rolling my opponent's dice, that sort of thing. And then I realized in my last game, I was like, I've been trading dice with people this entire weekend. And I just like grabbed all of the dice that people had traded to me and I just rolled all of them. I got my opponent's permission first. I was just like, hey, I'm going to use the power of friendship this game, which means I'm going to be rolling a bunch of different dice. Is that okay? And he's just like, sure, as long as I can too. And we were just like rolling like tons of these like
awesome.
Team France, England, those sorts of dice. And I felt it was like weirdly comforting because I was just like, surely all of them collectively can't be like weird in a certain way.
Yeah, totally.
And then it just kind of got rid of the superstition. So
I like that. But then you notice that like Team France is for some reason, and you're like, ah.
Yeah, exactly.
I usually ask complete strangers to lick my dice. Oh man, you are definitely a pestilence player, aren't you? This way the dice never mattered. Yeah, that makes more sense now. They just grab whatever dice are closest. Huh. They would ask their opponent if it was cool before the game. Then they would just roll. That's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. But, yeah. Oh, man, that's dope. Oh, you guys are being hilarious, though. Okay. We were talking about Lumineth. Did we finish talking about Lumineth?
I think I was just kind of pointing out that like there's a couple pretty powerful things for Lumineth. They've just got some really good War Scrolls. Dawn Riders are just like really efficient, high value, super fast. They move 14 inches, and with speed of Ish, they can be moving 18. And that's their unlimited spell, so they can just kind of keep trying it.
Wow.
We've seen that they can make their infantry like ethereal saves, and obviously the Light of Eltharion is like already an ethereal 3 up. What else? They've got some solid spell casting. Yeah. They're the only like moving, like their terrain piece moves. I think it's the only one in the game that does right now.
Wow.
Which is kind of neat. Like you can garrison it and then it moves around the table. I didn't read the rules on that specifically, so I should probably do that. But yeah, I think Venari is going to be really strong. And I think that the jump of the Huracan are going to be really good too. So I suspect we're going to see a lot of Lumineth in Tacoma, just because at face value they seem like they're going to be really good, and people have known about them for long enough.
Right, because of the game that we saw.
Yeah.
Shrine Luminor, 3-up save. I think that's the first time I've seen a 3-up save on a terrain piece. 12 health. It doesn't say move, but it says this terrain feature has a move characteristic of 6. Oops, my apologies. And can use move abilities as if it were a unit. Meaning run and charge?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Cannot use move abilities. Wait, the Shrine Guardian cannot use move abilities and remains on this terrain feature each time it moves. I see. Okay. Instead of measuring range or visibility to the Shrine Guardian, measure to this terrain feature instead. All that makes sense. It's all from the previous edition. All attacks that would target the Shrine Guardian target this terrain feature instead. If this terrain feature is destroyed before removing from the battlefield, inflict D3 mortal damage on the Shrine Guardian. Then set up the Shrine Guardian on the battlefield wholly within 3 inches of this terrain feature and not in combat. That unit is no longer the Shrine Guardian if it is not possible to set it or slain. Okay, that makes sense. Now it just says that you can use move abilities, so obviously you can't use like all out defense or something on it to keep it around.
Correct.
But yeah, that's interesting. And then enter the shrine. If this terrain feature does not have a Shrine Guardian, pick a friendly Lumineth hero within 3 inches. Place them in there. Got it. Yeah, okay. Exit the shrine. So you can you can do this in your hero phase. This is a lot better because then you can move after you get out, which is nice.
There's a core rules thing where if you're set up, you can't
Oh, okay.
move
Got
after.
it. Right. I should have thought of that. Then once per turn reaction, you declared a spell ability for a unit wholly within 12 inches of this terrain feature. While this terrain feature has a Shrine Guardian, you can re-roll the casting roll. So once per turn, you can re-roll a casting roll. Wow. We haven't seen a lot of re-rolling on casting at all. So that's super good. Is Tekla still like kind of an annoying turd like he was before? I just checking.
He went up to a 5-up save.
Really?
16 wounds on a 5-up ward just base though.
Yeah.
He is a quadruple caster, and I think he can do auto casts. Yeah, he can do auto banishes, value 8.
Wow.
Instead of making a casting roll, you can use
That's
a value of 10 for the roll
crazy
that cannot be
good.
modified. In addition, instead of making an unbinding roll or banishment roll, you can use a value of 8 for that roll that cannot be modified. Yeah, so he's a very reliable caster and banisher.
I know it used
He
to
can
be
just
on a
say, gone,
10,
gone,
but
gone, basically.
that's crazy. Because, like, what is above an 8 for casting? Like, I can't think of anything. So...
Well, you would still need to beat it's banishment roll that's
the
better.
roll... Yeah, oh, I see. Yeah, that's what I meant, though.
Because
I meant for
comparing...
banishment.
Because someone could roll, like, boxcars, and if you know you just have an 8, then it's not as good. But... So yeah, he shuts down magic pretty hard.
He actually has to roll dice, though. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Adds 1 to casting for friendly Lumineth units within 12.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's still a potent... How much does it cost again?
I think that's where the kind of, like, stickler kind of part is that I think he is still quite expensive. 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2, 3 damage, 5 attacks, 3s and
590 points.
Okay.
It's quite a lot. And
it is, but
he dies very easily, is the thing.
16 wounds, 5-up ward. Yeah.
Like, he could just get shot off the table by Giselle. Like, from 24 inches away.
I mean, that is the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, can he, though? Like, how many units of Giselle would it take minimum to kill him?
Because Giselle's run 2, right?
Yes.
Assuming AOA and AOD.
Yeah.
Giselle, they're 2 shots each, right?
Yep.
So it's 6 shots. 2 of which would be... Or no, 1 of which would be an auto wound.
Right.
Yeah, you'd need quite a bit, but, like, you're going to hurt him pretty bad, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. And, like, if any melee hammer gets into him, he's probably dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Interesting. He is my enemy, so I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Sorry, I missed some stuff. Go back to faction packs. Don't sleep on Fire Slayers. They're going to jump out and axe some people this edition. I didn't know that. I don't know. I did not look at Fire Slayers at all. And neither me nor Carson knows much about them, actually. Okay. Whoops. Sorry. I left this on for a good reason. Okay. Or I thought it was a good reason. Okay. So, what about them? I literally had no time today, Asri, so I don't know what's so good about them. Okay, we have a Sanctum of M talk at home. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Oh, I see. Okay. 4 auto, 10 cast, but folds like a wet paper towel. I think it's 8 now, Nick. According to what we just read.
No,
it used to be 10.
Auto
cast on 10. I see. Not bad. I got it. Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
auto on
I mean,
is 8.
Can you imagine? I see. Wow. That's going to be hard to stop, man. Like, because there's no pluses to unbind anymore. Like, who's rolling a hot 11 against Teclis? This reminds me of early AOS 3. You can priority target 1 units of Giselles because Teclis is a War Master, and then Scryer another unit of 6. Meaning, you mean like all-out attack?
Well, priority target in the new GHB gives a unit +1 to hit and wound against the enemy general's regiment, and because Teclis is the War Master, he would have to be the general's regiment.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that's a spicy meatball. That's true.
Pretty good.
That's actually a really good call. I like that. I forgot the name of it. And then Scryer. Well, you can Scryer up to 3 units. If you've got the Warp Cog Convocation, and then you're +1 to wound. So you could Warp Cog 3 of them, hope to roll well. Yeah, man. I mean, you can't take D3 mortal wounds on them if you roll a 1, so you could end up losing some firepower. But on the whole, you're gonna gain it. So, Zeech as a sub-action gives bonuses to unbind. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you, Nick. I couldn't think of it earlier. I was like, I know there's at least one that I can. They're naked dwarves that like fire. That's all you need to know. That's all I did know before, Joker. I don't know. Will suffer this season from their lack of movement. Man, we're getting opposing opinions in the chat here. The Sanctum is Idoneth Realmlord's endless spell that is so annoying to set up, so for little benefit that nobody ever uses. Nobody knew, but like someone was saying that they had it at home. I thought it was like a joke. It was like I thought it was a joke, to be honest. So I didn't think that they had, because usually when you have all the spells, if you have any of them, because they come in boxes together. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Saying from what I'm seeing in Fire Slayers, they're just like just super cheap, basically.
Oh, okay.
So if you take an example of like Volkite Berserkers with Fire Steel weapons, 10 of them is 140 points, and they're 2 wounds each on a 6-up save. Granted, 6-up save, but it's still 20 wounds for 140 points that actually can do damage.
That's amazing.
And if they charge, they're +1 attack, so it's 3 attacks on 4s, 3s run 1/1 damage. And I'm sure there's plenty of other ways to buff them too. Like Azri was saying, their prayers. One of the prayers is basically just like give someone -1 to wound, or if it's an 8+, it's -1 wound and then -1 rend against them too, which is really good. The prayer of Grimnir's Fury, you can use 2 fight abilities, but strike last. So you're basically giving fight twice to something with a prayer, which is really nice.
It's amazing.
And then the Volcatrix is basically you're just ignoring battle damage for your monsters with a prayer, which is
that's kind of it's okay.
Not as good. So the other 2 though are really good. And
battle damage doesn't really mean that much anymore. So
yeah, but what's crazy is it's the -1 to wound prayer that's the unlimited one. So if you have multiple priests, you can just be dishing out -1 to wound on your front line.
Whoa! And you're going to want multiple priests, obviously. Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot.
Yeah, I can see why. There's going to be a lot of dwarves, and there's, they won't hit as hard as some armies, but they're still going to be pretty spicy. I haven't had a chance to look through the whole thing, but that's kind of just my first glance look at it. It's just that very, very, very cheap for what they are.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
And it's just going to be tough. It's a DPS check via bodies, And even
Right.
then, like if you're just spamming a whole bunch of units of 10, like easily you can overkill a unit by accident.
Well, they're on a 6-up. You said save.
The fire steel weapons ones are, but the one with sling shields are on a 5-up for 150 points instead.
Do any of them
So
have wards?
I think there's a way of giving them wards, like with one of the
Okay.
runes.
Dang.
Yeah, with the rune of fiery determination. For one turn, all of your guys have a ward of 5-up.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah.
Even if it's
Oh,
once
6
per
plus
game.
6 plus plus.
Oh yeah, yeah, I see.
Oh yeah,
that.
they all have 6-up wards. That's right.
Okay, so then that's like way more efficient than clan rats, right? Even with
Yeah.
a 6-up save, a 6-up ward is significantly better, and they're cheaper per wound,
Yeah, I
and
can
they
see
do
it.
more damage.
And sure, they only move 4, but like,
But you can just run
like,
them, and then like
yeah,
you're just taking over the whole board with bodies,
yeah, and as soon
Huh.
as you send a hammer into them, it's going to be tough to deal with.
That's true, but like, they're, I don't know, man. Like, even their, like the Auric Hearthguard, like with the shooting part of the army, it has like a decent combat attack. 1 attack, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at, man. Huh. Jeez, and then the berserkers are on 3 attacks if they make a charge, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. That's interesting. I can see the I can kind of see like the downside though to like, it takes a special kind of person to want to play a horde army anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah. Like as we were saying, they're often better when they're getting charged than when they charge. And I think that
Okay.
an army
Huh.
like this is probably going to struggle with, if you put a bunch of zombies in their face, or if you put like a whole bunch
Right.
of bodies in their face, like they might not necessarily be able to chew through it. And if they're pinned, I don't know if they necessarily have the damage to like get out of it. So that's maybe one thing. Just because they only move 4, it's going to be kind of tough to like catch up if they get pinned in any bad way. But who
Right.
knows? Maybe they just have like such an overwhelming amount of bodies that it doesn't matter.
That's kind
Maybe
of what like yeah, sorry.
battle tactics turn 1 might be kind of tough for them.
Yeah, cuz the lack of movement.
Yeah, because like they actually can't even reliably seize the center with 4-inch movement.
No.
Let alone take the flanks. So
So what do you
if
even
they
do? Like
and if they
those are
have
the
a ton
two
of
best.
units,
Yeah.
if they have a ton of units, then there's a good chance that they like have more drops than you, so you can kind of just force them to go first. So I could see that being an issue too, but I truly haven't looked into like the tech of this army whatsoever.
No,
There could
no.
be something there that, like I'm seeing Asri say that there's deep strike already, which can help with like the 4 quarters one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
or even the take the flanks, assuming that it's possible. Oh no.
you can't set up and take the flanks.
Oh, you have to move into it. I did not remember that. Huh. Ogre Horde versus Fire Slayer's Horde. Meat grinder in the middle. All right. Another good tagline for a movie. And the turn 1 ruin is +2 movement. But then, oh, I see. Oh, the turn 1 ruin is +2 movement. Okay. Then I think that they would be able to do the flanks one then anyway, right?
It depends what they bring.
Yeah,
I
fair.
think.
And then, yeah, there's also like the magma droths, which is a thing. I know Alex was super upset that he couldn't take 6 magma droths because of how the what's it called? The battalions work, or whatever you want to call them. Aren't fire slayers supposed to be like the troll and demon slayers from Warhammer Fantasy? Hardly seems like a horde kind of fluff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot about the. I mean, I guess they did. Granted, they did change. When we moved over to Age of Sigmar, so it's possible that their fluff changes as well. I don't. The only thing I know about Fire Slayer's fluff is I learned some stuff that I learned from reading and or listening to Age of Sigmar novels, and none of them were Fire Slayers. It was like Gotrek and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's all tangential. Skaven. They were released as the Horde army, got changed to be more elite and thus more affordable. Hoping it gets knocked back to a Horde. It looks like Skaven are not like you could. I mean, you could run them as either now. Like you can run them as like all Rat Ogres and Stormfiends if you want, and that's very elite, even on the Rat Ogres. But yeah. Check out their Warcry Warband. It's nutty. Their special anti-monster ability is super unique. Cool. We'll do that right now. What the? Molten Infernoth? Is that their endless spell? Never seen this thing before. That's cool.
Yes.
Yes, right. How dare you correct me? I don't see the Hearthguard Berserkers with Berserker Broadaxes. That's not them, right? Oh, here they are. Here they are. They're the only ones that aren't naked, and like they figured out like a cooler paint scheme for them by the time they got to these guys. 4 inches, 2, 5 up save, 6 up ward, Vulkine weapons, 3 attacks, sting, 3s, 1, 1, anti-monster, and then the special ability, as was mentioned. Oh, and Ember Teeth, by the way, 1 attack each, 3s and 3s, and crit mortal for 2 mortals if you get it. Pick an enemy monster in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a dice. On a 3-up, subtract D3 from the damage characteristic of the target's companion melee weapons, by the way, for the rest of the turn. That's crazy. Now, I'm assuming there's something in the core rules that says you can never go below 1 damage or 1 anything, right?
Some things, yeah. Like
attacks.
You can never be less than 1 damage, never less than 1 attack.
Okay.
But you can be less than 1 power level as a wizard, for instance. You can go down to 0.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
I was just checking for this ability because, like, man, that would be pretty obnoxious if you were rocking around with damage 0. But like, you could go from 4 damage to 1 damage. Wow. And they're cool. Like they're the best like foot soldier or dwarf guys that we've seen out of Fire Slayers. So damn.
Yeah. This is kind of a weird aside, but if you go back down to their invocations,
sure.
Starting with the Molten Infernoth, it looks pretty good. Like they did a good paint job on it, and I think it looks cool.
Yep. I think they could have done better, to be honest. Like, but
look at the other two. They look kind of bad. Not good. Especially look at the flame spitter. Like, what is that? What is that thing?
I don't want to make anyone feel bad, but I mean, god dang. I mean, oh, it's a geyser. It's a geyser, right?
Yeah, I know, but
okay. I know. I agree. No, I agree. Sorry. Okay, I thought. Okay, fair enough. It's okay. The reason I was laughing that hard was because I thought there was like something like I thought it was some kind of molten lava monster that the paint job had somehow managed to cover up, and it just lost all form, and now it looked like a blob. You know what I mean? And I was just like, oh my god! Like I don't even know what to say to this now. I see. You know, the it's not good. To be honest, I think that the wall is worse. Like this looks pretty chunky. It looks, man, it's not even bright either. I mean, I think that could be partially the photos as well, because they always take them on a white background, and then that can dull down the color and whatnot quite a lot. But dang, woo! I have a question for the historians in the chat. I wasn't around, so when I was playing Warhammer way back in the day, everyone painted their base, the lips of their bases, goblin green. That was the thing. At some point, GW switched over to these brown bases. Does anyone know why?
I think the goblin green looks kind of tacky.
No, it does. It does, for sure. I'm not saying it doesn't. The thinking back in the day was this blends in, it looks like it's part of the battlefield. Right? And so the idea behind black bases is that it's like a picture frame, and you don't even notice it, right? But the brown thing, I don't know when it got implemented, and I'm curious as to like the thinking behind it, because I don't get it, because I think to me it's similar to Goblin Green in like the same way that it kind of stands out to me. And I know a lot of people who use it, and again, I'm not against it. I'm just curious as to like the historical, like if they know why they changed it. People who were around at the time, you know. I was gallivanting in another country. They're only 160 points. They're also the only army that brings their own pizza oven into battle. I mean, you're making great points for why to play Fire Slayers. My counterpoint is Naked Dwarves. But then your counterpoint could be like, you could paint the Endless Invocations or whatever they're called, you know, bright and beautiful. So there is that. I do like pizza as well. So, you're talking my language. Isn't the wall the same model as the prismatic? It's similar. It's different because it has... actually, it's actually pretty different. It has ruins on the top, and it's less, like, crystal-y looking. Or that could... But yeah, it does. It obviously reminds me, and I'm probably Carson as well of that, but... dark brown would probably be to match their standard basing. Yeah, but it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like the Goblin Green thing. I'm just curious. I'm not crapping on it. I was just curious as to like if anyone knows why, like what the reasoning, like what they gave at the time or when it happened. I'm just curious. I'm not. Yeah, it would have been to the hard green flock. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of people. I remember back in the day, people used. What's it called, like AstroTurf? They would just roll out AstroTurf. Like, I think they even had, like, AstroTurf at GW's. Like, that's what it looked like anyway. But, yeah, they were pretty much all green. Just green mats. Oh, I see. Sorry, you already answered that. I'm sorry. I didn't get to that. I'm jumping around, too. Yeah. Around 40k 3rd edition, GW art style took a hard turn to a grimdark, and Goblin Green was too bright. Huh, that's interesting. 3rd edition, so that's like right after I left. Huh. Reasons to not to play Fire Slayers. I'd have to 3D print like 700 little versions of the Cool S. The Cool S. I'm not sure. But regardless, yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure. So, by the way, we're also trying out a new format, or not new format per se, but like for a while there, we were getting all these rules, and we were kind of just going through them and reading them out loud, and we sort of realized that you guys have pretty much all read them already. And so we're just kind of reading you back information, and it's kind of less fun. So we've been going a little more loosey-goosey, and it kind of suits our style a little bit more. But let us know what you think in the chat, in the comment section, if you made it this far. I probably should have mentioned this at the start of one of the past couple of episodes that we've done where we're doing this format that's just a little more fun and silly and whatnot. But yeah, let us know in the comment section if you like this, or if you think if we veered too far into not focusing on rules and stuff like that. Let us know that too. We want to be like, your go-to for background noise to paint to. So yeah, let us know in the comments and stuff. Thank you to everyone. Man, you guys were so incredibly generous tonight. It was amazing. This is the best one we've ever had, I think, for subs and super chats and all that jazz. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Carson, say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyway, that did feel good though, bossing you around like that. Dwarf thing's bad. Steel take our warp stone. That's true. And like they think that just because they made those homes in the underground that they own them. Like, what is that about? Let's kill them all. Let the Great Horn Rat sort them out. Thank you guys, Keith. Thank you. Like, you guys are always so kind to say thank you for doing what we do. We just goof around mostly, but we really appreciate all of you guys. Do dwarf even taste good? I don't know. Let me know if in the comment section below. Carson says no. For the algorithm. For the algorithm. Yeah. We don't know. We don't know. Thank you once again. And yeah, let us know what you guys think of of this different format, and for all the generosity once again. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye. Bye. This way.